Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the fit. I got some monthly knife club gear. This, man, I cannot believe how good a quality this hat is. I think this is like the best quality hat I have right now. Look at how like the sides are like the fabric is super thick, and like look at the insides. And this thing is really good quality. I was surprised when I opened it. Like, holy cow! You don't expect it, you know, when you think of like merch and stuff like that. You expect it to be mid quality, you know. This is really nice. But how's everybody doing tonight? And shout out to Monthly Knife Club. I did link it down in the description since I did, you know, wear the merch. I actually just put that in here. That's why I'm running a few seconds late. How's everybody doing tonight? I do got some topics written down there we're gonna go through, but feel free to scream out topics that you'd like us to talk about if you want us to get into any rabbit holes or anything like that. We are going to talk about the only stones you will ever need if you got these stones. We're going to talk about sharpening stones and the best possible stones you could ever get and that you will ever need. Will be coming in hot. He's been a member for 20 months. Hey, Jared and everyone, shout out to you. Sorry we missed the last live. Had to go take care of my mother. My mother broke her hip, had to have surgery, then had the surgery, and then she wound up falling and breaking her shoulder. So I went down to help her out, clean her house and stuff, and it was a good time. So yeah, it took me a few days, but I'm back. All right, so we're gonna get to the stones in a second after people start getting in here. Right now, we'll just kind of shoot the shit. I seen somebody was saying about Spyderco Damascus knives. They said, why are they so? I think they said, why are they so scarce or something like that. I found them on Blade HQ. They don't have very many, but they do have the Spy Opera and Damasteel. That's why that's so high. It's so expensive. It's made in Italy and it's Damasteel. Those of you that don't know what Damasteel is it's basically, it's kind of hard to say, but it's basically the best type of Damascus you can get in many cases because it's a powdered Damascus. So it's a powdered steel Damascus. Now, with other Damascuses, right, it's melted steels together to equal a bill, you know, but it's still different layers. With a powdered steel, if the entire thing's powdered steels, it all mixes together like one billet of steel. It's just when it's etched, you can see the different layers, you know, and the difference is in the steels, but it's still like one billet. So you don't get some of the imperfections. Also, it uses two two steels that work really well together, meaning like they're so close together you won't notice any difference. They're too similar. A lot of Damascuses, and this is the reason why, like if you buy Pakistani Damascus and all that shit, when you sharpen it, the layers are different hardnesses, and they some parts are brittle, some parts are super soft. Like it's weird, and the edge retention is shit. Absolute shit. And sometimes they're dog shit soft. But Damasteel comes from a company that they do it. You know, that's why if you see Damasteel, you know it's a specific company that does it. And they use RWL 34. That's the core of the steel, which is basically CPM 154. So it's a good quality steel in powdered form. Now, the other one is the Endura 4. This one I think is really cool. Now, this is a VG10 Damascus. So you can see it's got layers of Damascus over the top, but then you see the core right there. That core is VG10. So the whole thing's VG10, and it's got like a layers of, like a jacketing it, basically. VG10, good steel, you know, nothing wrong with it. Mid-grade steel, mid-grade to budget steel. Nothing too special. $245 is a little bit pricey for it, but Spyderco does a really good job. So, you know, it's titanium, so that obviously brings the price up. This one's made in Japan. Japan does a hell of a job, and they do a really good job with the VG10. Now, they're going to use Spyderco's heat treat protocol for that. But, yeah. but yeah, you don't see them a lot. And then when you do, you know, they are quite expensive. These ones have probably been sold out for a long, long time. But you can find them though. I'm from Vegas. Hopefully Jared cheers up with some good old knife talk. We are definitely going to cheer up with some good old knife talk. Love knives, hate money. Just bought a special head RCD. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think if you get a Harsey folder, I would say, man, it's really, you're going to be a lot happier if you go and get a regrind like from BGM. BGM charges like $60. It'll take them like a week, you know, for you to get your knife back. It'll only be like a week. Like, it's so fast. And he'll put a nice deep hollow grind on the Spartan Harsey folder for you and make it the geometry just 10 times better. Like, the night and day difference. Like, you go from hardly wanting to use the knife because it is thick. It's a thick boy. Like people should bitch about like Benchmade 940s being thick, and I understand why, because they're a smaller knife. Not that they're not tough, because they are, especially with that geometry, but that ain't got nothing on like a Spartan Harsey, man. A Spartan Harsey is just, but I guess it makes more sense because it's a bigger, more robust knife, but it just doesn't make sense as a knife. Unless if you're only going to stab with it, you know, stab and pry, like, it's just a little too thick, because you can keep the strength of a blade by keeping the strength in the spine down to the tip if you want to be able to stab into things and not worry about breaking. But then you can make the geometry still good down to the cutting edge, so it'll still slice good, so it'll hold on to toughness and cutting performance. Anyone like overbuilt stuff? Even my sheath is Kevlar stitch. I like overbuilt stuff. I don't, you know, not to like EDC carry. Now check this out. I did think about doing this. I told you guys this a couple months ago, that I thought about doing a poll with 4 knives and like have like a Rockstead or something, like just a whole bunch of knives that would be, that I would never carry for an entire week straight, right? But give those as the list and let you guys choose which one I do. And I thought about making one of them just like a big, obnoxious, really thick, crazy fucking knife. I actually just got one in. I might as well show it to you guys. I haven't shown it on the channel yet. I literally just opened it. But whatever. We'll check it out. This is, what is it? The PMP Beast Prime in 3V steel. So not only is this motherfucker thick as a brick, it also, but you know, it actually gets down to a thin edge, which is crazy. I'm going to measure it really quick, but it's 3V steel. So you guys hear me talk about it all the time, that if a company wants to do tough geometry, like if they want a tough steel or a tough blade, then the geometry is where it's going to, damn, this thing's 12 thousandths behind the edge. What? That's crazy. I'm sure it's a high edge angle, but still, 232 thousandths thick. Anyways, that's crazy. Deep hollow grind. It has a flat grind here and a hollow here. But anyways, what I was trying to say is that when you want to make a knife tougher, any type of steel or blade, if you're trying to hold on to toughness, then geometry is going to be the biggest factor. Next will be the steel and the heat treatment. Because let's say you take the toughest steel in the world. Let's say the absolute tough 3V. Let's take 3V steel, right? And make it with super thin geometry. That's not going to be a tough blade, right? Because it's too thin of geometry. But you could take the most brittle steel in the world and make it super thick, and it's going to be tough, right? So that's the concept. Now, obviously, this knife does both. It gives you a super tough steel with super tough geometry, but also nice and slicey behind the edge. Surprisingly, makes me want to cut with it. But anyways, I was thinking about carrying something like this, or giving the option to carry something like this. This would be just crazy for me personally to carry like for a week straight, and maybe even give a couple other options that are just like even more ridiculous than this, because this I could actually EDC this. I'm not sure how the clip is going to be. Kind of looks like hitting a wall. I'm not sure yet. I should have linked this down in the description since I'm talking about it. Tools for Gents. You'll find it at Tools for Gents, or I think you might be able to find it at River's Edge Cutlery. Maybe. I'm not positive. I know I have a couple links that'll have it though. If you're interested. They're, I forget what they are. Like they're like 400 or something, 350, 400. Maybe it's like, yeah, 350 or something like that. Which titanium frame lock, robust titanium, nice big stop pin, you know, a big old billet of 3V steel. And it's kind of like a spear point tanto in a way. It does have a clip or a sheep's foot tanto. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I'll say, man, this tip is nice and pronounced. I could totally use it for EDC. And this is a nice straight edge. So, you know, you could, yeah, this wouldn't be too bad. I can think of a couple other knives that I would way rather not carry. But I thought it'd be fun if I did do that. Let me scroll up so I can see if you guys answered any of my questions. For some reason, your videos haven't been notifying me on my phone. I thought you were on hiatus helping your mom. Check the channel and I missed a bunch of videos. Anyway, to set notify for all. Yeah, you want to set notify for all. And then if for some reason you're not getting them, unsubscribe and subscribe back up. Just unsubscribe, shut it all off, and then, you know, and then come back and subscribe. That usually will fix that. And then you can set it to all. But that happens. It's weird. Like I even remember this was a couple years ago. I forget whose channel it was. I think it was Stas's, but yeah, it was Stasa 23. That's who it was. I was like, I watched all his videos and then all of a sudden for like 2 weeks, like, where the fuck is his videos? Like, what happened to this guy? Like, he just fell off. He's not making videos anymore. And I waited like another week, you know, and then I wound up looking him up. And then I seen he had been posting the whole time and it had unsubscribed me. Literally, it unsubscribed me. So I wasn't even subscribed to him. The notifications weren't on or nothing. I resubscribed, hit all notifications for all. And then a week later, it did the exact same thing again to me. I don't know why. RC 68 to 69 advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are edge retention, the wear resistance. So the higher the HRC, the more the wear resistance you have. It depends on the steel, you know, at being that high of an HRC. But let's say it's a steel that's able to go up that high. Then, you know, obviously the wear resistance is going to be through the roof. The toughness is going to be very low. The harder you get, the more wear resistance, but the more brittle. The lower you get, the tougher, but also the less wear resistance. So now there is a balance of anything, right? So you don't want insane wear resistance with no toughness at all, because then it's going to be too brittle, right? Because it doesn't hold any strength or toughness. Just like you don't want the opposite. So you do want some sort of balance, even if one is dominant over another. You know, it's kind of like doesn't matter. You guys know what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you have a little bit more edge retention, it depends on the steel too, but if you have a little bit more edge retention and a little bit less toughness, but it's on a knife that has, say, like we were just talking about before, a little bit thicker geometry, then, you know, you can balance it out, you know, to where it's like, well, I'm getting the toughness from the geometry, so I don't need my steel to be. And that's why I bitch about some knives that it's like, why are you running the steel soft when you have such thick geometry? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But, you know, like I said, there's a balance. I carry appendix in a slanted sheath so weight doesn't bother me. So that would be sick. Yeah, that tip's nasty, right? It looks sick. That thing will definitely do some tough shit too, man. It's got nice, it's a flat grind up in the front, but it's got a nice thick stock that tapers down. So you can feel that you could get underneath something and pry something pretty easily. Looking at a Shuro. I actually seen a Shuro yesterday, I think it was, and I was loving it, man. I don't know exactly which one it is, but it caught my attention big time. Seems like there's not a lot of sharpening life before hitting the plunge. No, there's not. That's the downfall with, I'd say most, if not all, probably all Shirogorovs. I have never seen one that didn't. I've sharpened them a bunch of times, lots of times. in many cases, you want to put in your own sharpening choil or finger choil. Now, one thing which you can do is you can make it go. Did we get a donation? I didn't see it. Why don't I see it? I'm sorry, Christian. I don't even see it yet. But Christian, thank you for the 20 bones. I'm gonna get back to the Shiro thing. Thank you for the 20 bones. Veneve stones, which grit to buy for a wide variety of seals? We're going to talk all about that here in 1 second, Christian. We have a whole conversation about stones coming up here in just like 3 minutes. But with Shirogorovs, if you want to get the life out of it, like without putting in a plunge grind or a different choil or anything like that, keep it at the same angle. If you keep it at the same angle, you will get 1, 2, maybe even 3 sharpenings, as long as you're not removing a lot of steel. Now, if you change the edge angle, like let's just say, I don't know what edge angle they leave it on. I don't remember at least, but let's say it's 25 degrees per side. If you lower it down to 17 or 20 degrees per side, you're going to eat it up all the way to the plunge grind. So if you want, you can not do that by just doing the same edge angle, or at least close to it. Hey Jared, my Vision FG pivot screw keeps loosening. How do I make it stop? There's a couple different ways. One, you can take it out. If you have any super glue, that would be the fastest way. So you just take it out, put a little drip drop of super glue. But this is the thing, before you even do it, just to be sure, before you even do it, screw the pivot in all the way and kind of know right where it's at, where it's good, like where you tighten it all the way. And then if you have to loosen it a little bit or something to get the action you want, a lot of knives, you can just tighten it all the way, figure out where it is, where it likes to sit, for you to have good action and it to be solid. Then take it all the way out, put a little drip of super glue, put it in rapidly, very fast. And then, you won't need to let it sit. Now, the best way is just to get, now, I don't know if it's the best way, but another way is just to get some Loctite. If you get some Loctite, you do have to let it set. So after you do it, you want to let it sit for about 48 hours. I've discovered a pretty ugly inclusion in the pivot hole from my Formax Elite 20 CV out of Italy. It's probably the reason why I can't get the blade play out without cranking it down like a fixed blade. What do I do? That's tough, man, because one, make sure you're oiled up. Make sure you're oiled up really good, but it might be a defect. It might be a defect, but sometimes, and I have tons of knives like this, where you have to crank it all the way down and then just barely pull it back. So like say if you tighten it all the way up and then you just barely turn it back just a tiny bit, and it's difficult to find that happy medium balance. Now, another thing, the Formax, so it's a Triad lock. The one thing, you're not going to have to worry about the lock strength. There's lock strength there. It's not going to risk any lock strength at all. So don't think it's fragile or anything. That's one of the most strong. It is the strongest lock you can find. So I wouldn't worry about that, but I understand why it might bother you. Just try to get it as tight as possible. I got a few knives that, like even my shaman's got play, but the lock's still nice and strong. So I'm not too worried about it. And let's get to the stones after. Let me read the rest of these comments, and then once I catch up, we will get to the stones. And we're going to talk about the best and only stones you will ever need. Let me finish reading his comment so I can make sure that I got everything he wants to talk about. Veneve stones, which grit to buy for a wide variety of steels? Just order the 80/240 from Hapstone on eBay. Only grits available in the future. Can you show how to sharpen curved boning scimitar blades? For me, yeah, I've actually done lots of videos on those, but we will talk about it. They only have they should have more Veneves. If they don't, they'll get more pretty quickly. But we're going to talk about Veneves and all different kinds of stones, and we're talking about what's the best, and not only what the best is, what's the best package or the best setup for you to get. And we're also going to talk about different price ranges. So we're not just going to talk about like the best of the best in the world that, like if you have unlimited budget. We're also going to talk about if you're on a budget. You'd have to break the tight over and over or clean it around the P. Oh, speaking of Kunwu, Aaron says that Kunwu Ronin Revival would be sick with a flipper delete and an enlarged forward choil. Supposedly, I have a Kunwu link coming tomorrow. So I have a video going up, and I will have an affiliate link to Kunwu site. Jared, I got my first Manix the other day. Good for you. Took a chunk off the top of my pinky. And I love it. Amazing knife. Top food chain. Thanks, brother. Not a problem. What'd you do? You went like this, didn't you? You had it, and you had your pinky right there, didn't you? You swung it shut, and it's happened to everybody. Keep your fingers off the path. But yeah, it's a badass knife. But yeah, it'll get you. All right, so John Evans, thank you for the 10 bones. Appreciate it, brother. Shout out to you. Hopefully everybody who won the last giveaway has received their gifts. If they have not received them, they should be there tomorrow. I would think they'd already be there, but if anybody does not have theirs and wants the tracking, just contact me. I'll send you the tracking. I didn't send everybody tracking because you gotta understand, when I leave my shipping place, my fucking receipt's about 10 feet long. So yeah, anyways, if you want the tracking, just get a hold of me. I know one person lived in Malaysia, so I'm just gonna cash app him the money rather than send the knife. They told me that it had like a 20% chance of even making it. They said it'd be just smarter not to even send it. That it has a very unlikely chance of making it. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'd rather him get it and not think that I'm a liar than mail it and then, it not show up. I think Grammatic had the crazy diagram. I've been slowly learning and switching from freehand to Lansky guided. Okay, so we can talk about Lanskys too, but all right. So first off, the best stones you can buy. So if you want the best stone package, and I would say that this is the best stone package, what I would recommend to anybody if you want to get everything you need in one set without spending money here and there and here and there and learning it all for yourself, just spend once, cry once, and get the best. I would say get one Atoma. So it depends on if you're doing freehand or fixed angled, but I would say get one Atoma or a Hapstone start. So if you're using fixed angled, then you can get Atomas too in this case, because Atomas come in fixed angled and 3x8 stones. So you want one Atoma 140. So an Atoma 140, or if you have a fixed angled system, you could go with a Hapstone 100 start. This is their starter stones. They have all different grits, and this is the 100. That's a really good one. It's very similar as far as grit to the 140. Now, the 140, the diamond pattern's different, but anyways. Then after that, get 3 double-sided Venives. I say the double-sided Venives because they do have the single sides with the plates on this back, but then it's more money for you. You're going to have to buy 6 of them rather than 3. These are more affordable in most cases, so you're getting 2 stones for 1. Now, this will still fit in in most fixed angled knife sharpening systems, as long as it has a universal clamp. TS Prof, Hapstone, Work Sharp if you buy the aftermarket stone holder, so on and so on, right? Anyways, even KMEs is a versatile one where you can switch out stones, but it's only 4-inch. I would recommend getting a 6-inch stone fixed angled sharpening system 10 times out of 10 times over a 4-inch. KMEs are 4-inch, Lanskys are 4-inch. Anything with 4-inch, it takes so long, and it's not as enjoyable as if you get a 1-inch by 6-inch stone. Anyways, so the Venives that you want to get. So you want to get let me flip it over. You want to get so there's different grits. So you understand there's 2 different stones on each one, right? So you want to get, let me just put these in order so you can see them. So the first one you want to get is the 150, or sorry, the F150 and F80. So that's 1 stone. It's an F80 and an F150. The F80 is, 200/160 micron. The F150 is 100/80 micron. Now the second stone you would want to get is the F240 and the F400. Did I say 240? I don't think so. Okay. So the F240 and the F400. This is a 50/40 micron and a 20/14 micron. Basically, it's a 600 and a 1200. That's what I would say. Mine's got steel all over it, that's why it looks like that. But normally this is red and this is green. I guess you can kind of see it. Anyways, it's basically a 600 and a 1200 grip. Then your finishing stone, which will get you all the way to a mirror polish. So if you have the Atoma, the reason why you have the Atoma 140 or the Hapstone 100 is so that you can reprofile on thick geometry or damaged blades or chips, or just reprofiling in general. It'll go a lot faster. Then you can go to these. Now, could you reprofile on these? Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't need the Atoma, but it's a great to have, because it'll just make you get to these stones a lot faster. The reprofiling will be a lot faster. It'll cut the time in half, and it just makes for a better experience. But once you get to the last stone on here, that will be the F800 and F1200. The F800 is 7/5 micron. The F1200 is 3/2 micron, which is basically 5,000 grit. It's 3,500 and 5,000 grit. Because once you get over 1,200, you know, like, you can jump. Now, the thing is that these are resin bonded diamond stones. Yes, they're expensive, but they will last you forever. They will basically last you, probably, depends on how much you sharpen, but like mine, like I've had mine for a long time. I can tell like certain ones are thinner than others as far as how much life I have left, but I still have a ton of life on both of them. Plus I use my freehand stones the most. Like, if you sharpen, you know, once a week or something, these things are going to last you damn near forever, you know. So it'd probably be the last stone you'll ever have to buy in your life. Now, if you get the Atomas or the Hapstone, yes, you will have to replace them eventually, but they are the best diamond plates, in my opinion, that you can get that will last you the longest. So they will last a very long time. Now, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that either. If you're on a budget and you're on a super tight budget, which I am looking into right now, getting some ultra sharps on the NEEVEKNIVECO site. But if you're on a tight budget, the ultra sharp diamond plates, you can find them in the Neevesknives store down in the description. And all these, you can find these in my Hapstone link. You can find the Hapstones in the Hapstone link, obviously. And then you can find the Atomas in the Neve store, or the Neevesknives store. Now, as far as the ultra sharps, you can also find those in the Neevesknives store. Now, you can get the 2x6 inches, which are like when you're really on a tight budget. But if you can spend the extra money, get the 3x8s. They're the bigger ones. They will last you a lot longer than a 2x6. Now, those will wear out quicker than an Atoma, but they're half the price. Actually, probably more than half. I don't know. The Atomas are pretty expensive. Now, I do want to talk about sharpening systems and stuff, but let me check out the comments, and then we'll get to sharpening systems. I have the Cage. It's smaller than I expected. Yeah, it's a smaller guy. I have the Minis for the KME and love them. Very cool. Yeah, they're the best. There's a few other companies out there that have other resin bonded diamond stones, but from what I've heard from people that have tested like all the different companies, that Neeves cut the fastest, which is an important thing. And when I first started sharpening, when people kept saying that, I kept hearing people say that, you know, that these cut a lot faster, they cut a lot better. And I didn't put as much value into that statement as I should have, because what that basically means, it just to make it really simple, frustration. That's what that means. It's less frustrating if it cuts faster. If it cuts faster, it's going to cut the time in half. You have less strokes, less motion, less time to hold your angle, less everything. So the frustration gets cut in half. So that's why you want something that actually cuts fast. Now, with a stone like this, you can use this like right now. Before we ever started this live, I was sitting here honing my knives. So I just put it in my hand, and I can take a knife that has a decent edge, maybe a rough edge, and put a screaming edge on it just by literally honing it. I'll do 3, maybe 4 passes per side, maybe 5, very gentle, very light passes. And because it's diamond, because it's nice and flat, and it has that resin, it really, it makes the edge just so sticky. Like I can't believe how like it just changes it so much. And I'll take knives fresh from the factory that have barely been used and make them hair whittling in 30 seconds with one of these. Now here's the trick, because I know a lot of, sorry guys, I know a lot of people struggle with holding the angle, but I'm gonna teach you a trick really quick. When you hold an angle, okay, one thing, and this part will come with a little bit of experience, but first off, be confident, okay? Go into it not being unsure of yourself. When you have the angle down and you're like, man, that looks like it's probably it, but you feel unsure. You're like, it looks like it's it, but I'm very unsure. You got it. It's there. Just fucking do it. It's I know you feel unsure of yourself, but you probably holding the angle fine. Now, what you can do, now here's the part, the trick. Go across the stone very gently, very lightly, right? Go do like 1, maybe 2 passes, just like that. Okay, really gentle, maybe even 3. Then feel it. Now, if you feel a burr, lower your angle, okay? Because you should not feel a burr on a fine stone like this, not that quick. You're not adding any pressure. You're just trying to refine the teeth at the apex, right? So you don't want to feel a burr. Now, if you wanted to feel a burr, that would be a different stone, right? So if you feel a burr, lower your angle. So let's say I was holding it right here. That means my angle was too high right there. So just literally drop it. I mean, a cunt hair, like literally a tiny, tiny bit. Just bam. That's it. Just a little tiny, tiny bit. And do it again. And also obviously do the opposite side, because the opposite side has the burr, right? So get rid of that damn burr and lower the angle just slightly. So now you've adjusted to the exact angle you want, because you've noticed that the angle was slightly too high. Now, if it's slightly too low with a fine stone like this, it's not going to hurt anything. It might polish the back of the bevel slightly, but you just won't notice any difference, right? So in that case, just barely raise it. But it's such a small amount between hitting the angle perfectly and being too high of an angle or too low of an angle. It is a very small amount. But the problem is people are not confident. They go into it and they're unsure. So then what they do is they'll do 2 or 3 strokes, then change their angle. 2 or 3 strokes, change their angle. And they change their angle 6 times. The knife never gets a chance to refine the apex. So adjust accordingly. Adjust when you should. You know, like I said, if you've noticed there's a burr starting, then yeah, lower your angle a little bit, because you shouldn't be developing a burr with this. That means you're too high of an angle. That's what that means. Because like if I was at the angle, it wouldn't develop a burr. But since I'm at a high angle, it's allowing the steel to cut off near the apex. Hopefully that makes sense. Hey, Jared, thinking about asking Santa, aka my wife, for a KME system that's about the best system I could get away with in the terms of price. Which one? I wouldn't get the KME, Mark. I would say if you really, man, spend the extra money and just get the Work Sharp. Get the Work Sharp professional system. It's not that much more. I think they got it for like $220, maybe $250 at max, but I think they're on sale right now for like $220. KMEs are $200. So you're going to get a digital angle finder. You're going to get all the stones you need. You'll have literally everything you need in that box. You won't have to buy stones or anything. However, what you can do is then, Mark, in the future, in 6 months, a month, 2 months, whenever you have an extra $35, get the stone holder, which you can get from my Hapstone link. And then you can use any stones you want. And then 3 months later, you can buy 1 Veneve. 3 months later, buy one Hapstone or 1 whatever, right? Whatever you want. Actually, I would just say, because you already have the diamond plates with the Work Sharp, so just get Veneves after that. But it comes with a ceramic. It comes with like 5 or 6 diamond plates, a ceramic, and a strop. And, you know, the whole system, everything. And you can do small, medium, and pretty large knives with it. But that's what I would spend the money on every day of the week, because it's 6-inch stones. Remember, KMEs are 4-inch. So this is the size difference. Look at this size stone. Look at how small this is. This is a KME stone right here. Just so you know, this is a KME stone. This is the difference. Look at that. What you're getting. You're going to spend 20 to 30, $40 more, but you're going to get the results are going to be 10 times better. Now, obviously, there is still you knowing what you're doing, but the experience would be a lot better, man. I'm telling you, your stones will last longer. It'll be faster sharpening. You'll have more capabilities. It won't take as long. It'd be just a lot of things. And if you ever get the stone holder, you can get any stones you want. I reprofiled the Japanese Gayuto, I think that's how you pronounce it, from 20 degrees side to 13 degrees per side, using only a, I don't know what that is, J1000 grit diamond stone. Took some time, but worked well. I don't know. I don't know if a 1000 grit you reprofiled. It must have been very well. With chef knives, they're thin. Like if you tried to do that with this, you're gonna be there for a month, right? But yeah, if you do it like if I did that, I could do that, or like something like this, you're gonna be there forever, dropping that down to 13 degrees per side. But yeah, with a chef knife, they're like fucking 6,000s behind the edge, 10,000s behind the edge. They're so thin that yeah, you can get away with that, especially on carbon steels, soft steels, simple steels. They're going to cut a lot faster. So yeah, you can get away with that sometimes, but you don't want to stick with something because sometimes this will work. You want to stick with the method of what works on everything, because when you run into a knife that's 25 thousandths behind the edge and you have to lower down to 17 degrees per side, you're gonna want a coarse grit stone. Shit, even if it was thinner than that, I would want a coarse grit stone. What about CPM steels, which have been published in patents but never produced for sale, like CPM 18V? When is Crucible Industries going to release 18V, if ever? Any insight? I'm guessing, I don't have no insight on that, but I'm guessing there's something wrong. There's a lot of steels, and I think that there's steels that sound good on paper and maybe are developed with the best, intentions, but in the end, the people are, they have integrity and they know like that this is not good. This is bad. It's brittle. It's this, it's that. It's not a high quality steel like I thought it was going to be. So then they don't do it. Or maybe it's a fucking gem and they're holding it to their chest. I don't know. But yeah, I have no idea. What about the Hapstone Premium CBN stones and metal resin? So, man, I'll be honest. I'm not trying to knock them. I do have them. Okay, I have the whole set. Venives are a lot better. I like Venives 10 times better. So to me, this is my problem with them. I know they cut, but they don't feel like they're cutting. It feels like you're sharpening, like with the lowest grit. I feel like it's my finest grit for Venive. So I don't feel it cutting at all. And especially with freehand, you want to feel something. That's called feedback, right? So when you're sharpening, you have feedback, and feedback can help you hold your angle. It can help you do a lot of things. Now, if it's flat, it's like a ceramic stone, right? You don't have a lot of feedback with a ceramic stone. What you have to do is you have to wait for the suction cup thing. Now with those, I'm sure they're good. I just personally wouldn't even use them until I reprofiled the stone. I don't think they cut fast enough. I know they cut, but they're not cutting fast enough for me. I like a stone that cuts fast, and then I would go to those. But personally, as long as I have Venives, I probably wouldn't. Now, if you have those, you're fine. But personally, I tried to use them for reprofiling and stuff, and it just didn't work out. I wound up switching. So maybe I'll try it again, and maybe, I just wasn't patient, but I felt like at the time that when I was testing them that they just were not cutting at all. What do you recommend for a folder in the $300 price point? Watch my video I just posted. I just posted a video like an hour ago. I recommend a lot of different knives, but you can watch that. And I have my most recommended knives coming up in just a few days. So watch those videos. I'm going to be talking about the best of everything, the best hard use knives, the best of the best of 2023. We have the best affordable knives, the best everything. We got tons of videos. Do you still do sharpening? I sharpen all the time. I just film it. I don't do sharpening for customers anymore. My books have been closed for quite some time. I try to just teach knife sharpening now. So I film it a lot. We have the membership that we do. Actually, this Sunday we have a members video or members live. So this Sunday we have a members live sharpening video we're going to do. So anybody who wants to join, if you're not a member, join the membership and come sharpen some knives with me. I will be doing it live, and then we talk all sharpening the entire video, and I'm right there sharpening, so we can pull up anything we need to. Had a cool mail delivered today, Civivi Tranquil and the Otaku 2 pry bar. Pretty cool. Waiting on delivery of Civivi Bull Tusk. Have you reviewed, used the Bull Tusk here? Yeah, absolutely. I haven't done a full review, but I have a first impressions of it. I'm surprised you didn't see it, man. I would have thought you got it from my video, because then you could have used my link. Just saying. But no, I recommended the Bull Tusk. The Bull Tusk is awesome. I personally like it. There was in the video that I posted with it, there was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 other Civivi knives, and I said it was one of my favorites of that list. It's a good one. Nice, great reverse flicking action. I love the blade shape. It's an aggressive blade shape that's also very useful. The ergonomics are good. It's a perfect size. I like full-size knives. So not that I don't like small knives, because I do, but I love the full-size knives probably the most. I scored a little native in the second sale, and it just shipped. Woohoo! I use the stones from my sharpening system to sharpen, touch up. I not used the system much. Chris Jones has been a member for 11 months, watching a movie with my pops. Just wanted to jump in and say hello to Jared and all the chat. Hey, Chris, did you get your package? Did you get your fragrances? I'm curious if you got to try that one that you were asking about. That's not for me. Do you strop your strop? What I call wiping the strop to make sure nothing is on it. Had grit on my strap one time. No, so what I do is I just try not to contaminate my straps. But if you're, so it depends on what straps you have. Like, say if you have a 3 micron and a 1 micron, it's not that big of a fucking deal, man. Micron, you know, between 3 micron and 1 micron, you're not going to notice that scratch. Now, if you have a 12 micron and you have a 1/4 micron, right, and your edge is a 1/4 micron, then maybe, you know, because that's a 12 micron diamond versus a 1/4 micron. But, you know, I'm not too worried about that too much. I don't really see any issues with that. And I don't mind, like, even with my full blown mirror edges, I want to see, like, if I look really closely, I want to see microscopic scratches, because those are my micro serrations. Remember, if you polish those all the way out, let's say you mirror polish an edge where you absolutely cannot see any fucking teeth at all, you might feel like you have a lot of bite. But as soon as you start using that knife, the microscopic teeth that it does have is going to be so minor and so small, they're just going to tear off. And what'll happen is now you just have an edge, meaning like there's no, it's like having a saw blade with no teeth, right? Will it cut? Yeah, it'll cut, but it's not going to have bite. So then you'll slip out of cuts, and that's dangerous, right? Like, think about cutting backwards a rope, right? Think about, and everybody's done this, right? Or a thick plastic strap. You want your edge to bite that shit, right? You don't want it to slip out. So that's why you want them, even if it's so small, you can't even hardly notice it. But if you really, really, really look, you can. Like, you might be able to read off of it and everything. Like, those are the type of mirror edges I think are going to be superior to any other mirror edge. Cut hair is our official universal measurement, proven fact. You want to learn shit, watch Neeves almost by osmosis. Cheers. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Doug. Shout out to Doug. Anytime I have a question about knives that can't be answered by watching a video, I wait for Jared to do a live stream. There you go, Asher. Hell yeah. I strop daily. Oh yeah, I want to talk about the stropping thing again. I strop daily even if I haven't used my knife, just for practice, and I love maintaining my knife so it's ready even if I'm not. Also with stropping, what I do is I have my straps separated, not separated from each other. I stack them, but what I'm saying is that, like, I know what my 3 micron is, I know what my 4 micron is for the most part, right? I have some that I might contaminate a little bit, but I don't really care, because usually when I contaminate it, I just contaminate it with a coarser grit. So like, say if I know like this strop, I don't know if it had 1 micron or 4 micron, but it had something like that, right? It didn't have over 6 micron, or maybe up to 6 micron. Well, then I'll put 9 micron on it, because then it's not going to matter, right? Because contaminating, it's going to be contaminating a smaller micron, something that has smaller diamonds, right? And then you drop a big diamond on there, that's going to contaminate it. But you're not going to contaminate a 12 micron with a 1 micron. It just can't happen. So but so since I know what straps I have, you know, I clean them off every, you know, so often. And I have the I'm using Stroppy stuff, which, if you want to talk about the best stropping compound, Gunny Juice is the best you're going to get for a little bit less money. The next stuff I'd say is Stroppy stuff, which I think is just as good, if not better, but it's also better because it's color coordinated. So you'll know exactly what's on your strap because you can see the color. Now they also have really good straps. Their leather's really thick. You'll be able to, that leather will last you a very, very long time. And what I tend to do is, it's a very firm leather, like it's not the furry suede type of leather. Those are good for like the crayon type of compounds, like, you know, like the stuff that looks like chalk, or like the green and the white sticks and the red sticks. That's good for those types of straps. But personally, for me, I like to use diamond now. And not that I don't have all the other stuff, because I do, and I can use the other stuff anytime, but I choose to use diamonds almost always. And I put that on top of the firm leather. It spreads really easily, very good. And then when I'm ready, like let's say I want to clean it because the steel buildup is just too much on it, and now the steel's starting to contaminate my edges, I'll just spray it with some rubbing alcohol, literally just, and it'll come right off. And literally, I'll have a fresh strap ready to brand new, basically. Not brand new, but, you know, pretty damn close to it. I practice my sharpening on my beater knives. I always have to get so impatient and not wait till I felt the burr, even though it looked sharp, and it would be the same sharpness as before. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is patience, man. But that's also why I keep talking about cutting cutting power, right? Like, if you're on a stone that's not cutting fast, you'd be an hour in wondering, why the fuck can't I feel a burr yet, right? But if you had an Atoma 140, 15-20 minutes in, you would have got a burr. So that's why I say you want a stone that cuts. You want a stone that cuts fast. That way you're not frustrated wondering what the hell is going on. You think you're doing something wrong, but you're not. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just taking a lot longer. Now, one thing is that if your angle is so low, or is too low, it's going to take a long, like, I can tell you right now, there's knives right now I could pick up, and if I put a 15-degree edge bevel on it, it's going to take me 4 hours. And I'm not exaggerating. It will take me fucking 4 hours to just get a burr. So that's why you want to be careful with deciding your angle on certain thicknesses. You know, if it's now, I'm not saying don't put 15 degrees on something that's thick, because I like to a lot, but I pack a lunch. Kyle, what's up, Kyle? Kyle's in the house with the 2 bones. Can't stay. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're doing well, Kyle. Hope everything's well with you. Jordan says, I strop daily, even if I haven't used my knife, just for practice. And I love maintaining my knife, so it's ready if I'm not. Yeah, I agree. I do the same thing. Now, usually I'll use it before I strop it again, but sometimes I just do it just to do it. But it is good to do like what you're saying, just for practice. The more time you have on the stone, the more time you have on the strap, the more failures you can have. Remember, you learn from your failures. So, you know, it's not like you're going to go into something and just be a a professional. What's going to make you a professional is having the failures, right? It's like I was saying with the edge, like if you're going to hone your edge and let's say you do a couple strokes and you feel a burr, right? Understanding that's an indicator right in that moment to drop your angle for a honing stone. Now, if it was a different stone, it'd be different, but I'm saying for a honing stone, right? You're not trying to sharpen, you're trying to hone. If it develops a burr, well, then that's an indicator right there. Your angle is too high. So now you know to adjust. So, but you won't pick up those things unless if you're on the stone, practicing and doing it. A metric contour or a USA contour. Aren't they one and the same? Use a marker to paint your edge. It's a great way to check to see if your angle is correct and hitting the whole bevel. Yeah, I would say that's really good if you're trying to match the angle. Yeah, if you're trying to match the angle, the marker trick. I never did the marker trick, but I did not do it because there was something wrong with it. I didn't do it out of stubbornness. Don't be like me. I was just stubborn, and for some reason, I've always had this stubbornness in me that like I almost feel like I'm doing myself a disservice by not learning it myself without the marker. So I always felt like not doing it because I didn't want the handicap, even though it was never a handicap. There was never nothing wrong with it. So I would encourage people to do it. If you're trying to match the angle, it's smart. There are some links that I cannot link, but are in the description of the live you are currently watching. Yes, guys, everything's linked always down in the description. For any sharpening supplies, go to my Hapstone, Work Sharp, or Neevesknives store for sharpening stuff. I also have a TS Prof link. I think it's down there for for knives and stuff like that. I have every knife dealer down there that you can imagine. So you can find anything you need. I have an unprofessional work sharp fixed angled and it's doing more than enough. I'm also stropping on cardboard because that seems to be working pretty good. Yeah, use whatever works for you. I know a lot of people like Mike Emler, he strops on like newspaper and shit. You got to use what you got, right? And not everybody's going to have the money to shell out for stroppy stuff and Neeves and stuff like that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I sharpened for years before I ever had a diamond emulsion. I sharpened for years before I ever even used the diamond plate. So there's nothing wrong with that. You got to use what you can. And you'll still be able to pick up the knowledge now. But this is the one thing I would say though, is that when I got to a diamond plate for the first time, I was pissed off at the 2-year-old, like my 2 years, because for 2 years I struggled, like, because like I keep saying, like the stone and its feedback is a lot. Diamond plates give you really good feedback. Like you can feel that grit. So to me personally, it's easier for me to hold the angle when I can feel that. Now, another thing is that it cuts faster. There's no cleanup. It's not messy. It's not watery. Your fingers aren't getting soggy. And I went through 2 years of the smell of oil in my oil stones, the feeling of wetness on my fingers, trying to splash the water, getting all soggy. And you're learning. So you're spending a lot more time removing a lot more steel than you would if you were a professional. Right? So you're getting soggy, and now you got a mess. You're constantly cleaning it up. You have a whole fucking garbage can full of wet napkins or something, and it's dreadful. But then you get a diamond plate, and all that goes away, and you're like, "Fuck, man, how much time could I have saved if I just would have shelled out and got the diamond plate? If I wouldn't have just bought a $10-15 stone and would have just bought a $20 or $30 diamond plate, right? Just spend double the money and get something. I would have been so much better. Like my knowledge and learning would have went a lot faster, because when you're learning to sharpen, right? Now, if you're using certain stones, you have to learn the stone. So now you're learning two things at once, right? You're not just learning sharpening, you're also learning how the stones work, how they need to get flattened, how they clog, and all these other fucking things. With a diamond plate, there's nothing. Set it down, start sharpening. You don't have to worry about it clogging. You don't have to worry about nothing. You just dust it off. All right, let me scroll down. I'm sure I am backed up like crazy, guys. I'm sorry if I missed anything. Uh, I still have a Workshop Pro system. It's nice and all, but I still go back to the DMT extra coarse stone, and my diamond compounds takes 2 minutes to sharpen, just about my own life. If you know how to freehand, yeah, I mean, I have both, and there are times where I'll use my fixed angle knife sharpening system, but most of the time I just freehand because I know how to freehand. Now that doesn't mean there's not some times where it's like I just don't want to, and I'm not in the mood or something, or maybe, you know, I'm just worried about, you know, I want just to get like the perfect edge angle without trying, you know. Not that you still don't have to try. I don't want to make it seem like you're not trying, but you know what I mean. Um, I don't have to worry about it as much. So, but I also like in many cases to worry about it because I do think that it gives you more than just the ability to sharpen. It really, really does. You know, you get not only the knowledge of it, but the muscle memory is something you can take with you to the day you die, something you can teach to other people, something you can pass down. And it also builds a little bit of character, I think. And it's therapeutic. It really, really is. Uh hey, I've seen Jared and Jared. Which is it? Neeves is too polite to correct us. What are we talking about? Oh, it's Jerad. I'm Jared, not Jared. I don't know what that means. We have the same chair and I've had it for like 7 years. This chair? I'm pretty sure these are pretty new. Maybe they're, I don't know. I got a link to them though for a really good discount code. 30% off of the sale that they already have right now. Silas, thank you for the 5 bones. Why not recommend an extra course DMT? I will explain that. With that and diamond compound, it only takes like 2 minutes to get almost any knife hair splitting sharp. The reason why I would recommend the Atomas over the DMTs is just because the Atomas they use cluster diamonds. You're not gonna be able to see this one. This one's a 400 and it's been pretty wore, and it's dirty. Let me just hang on with that. So if you look at this diamond plate, I should just go grab my 140. You see, they're clusters. So they're in a specific shit. Sorry, guys. It's in a specific pattern and it's a cluster. So it's like a mound of diamonds. It's not one diamond sitting on the surface across the plate. It's a mound of diamonds. So it's like having a stack of rocks, right? In each one. So each little diamond you see is not one diamond, it's a cluster. That happens to make the stones or the plates work not only really well, but last a lot longer. Now, DMTs. DMTs are great. I do recommend them. If you want to get them, you can, but they are more money. And for ultra sharps, you're getting pretty much the same thing for less money. So that's why I just recommend the ultra sharps. Yes, they maybe you could maybe argue DMT might be a little bit better, maybe. I don't even know if that's true or not. I've used them next to each other. I couldn't really tell the difference. The one difference is the grits you can get, because with ultra sharps you can only get a 300, a 600, and a 1200. With DMTs, I think you can get a 100 or something, or 200 or something. So yeah, that's cool. That's really good. But that's why I say just get the Atoma, because the Atoma is another thing too. I didn't even finish. The Atomas come with you buy the plate. Then all you have to do is replace the replacement sheets. So you get the plate, and then say, I don't know how much that costs. Let's say that's $60. Well, then you can replace the sheet for like $40. And so you don't have to buy that plate no more. And now what you can do is you can just buy another sheet and slap it on the back of it. And now you can have a double-sided Atoma. So there's a lot of reasons why, but DMTs are good too. I mean, it's still a diamond plate, so it's still going to give you the same diamond result. I'm more talking specifically about like where to save money, where to invest more, what's going to last the longest, and what I would recommend, you know, over anything, you know. But any diamond plate that you buy will work. You can buy a $3 diamond plate, it'll work, but it's going to wear out really quick. That's the problem. Like, there's some plates, and I've seen this, I have them still. There's diamond plates I've used 3 times and they're wore out, like damn near wore out, because it was a hard steel, you know, thick edge and all the bullshit. Like For example, TS Prof stones, TS Prof diamond plates suck. They're the worst. I don't think they're the grit they say they are either. I think they have like a 150. It's really like a 350 or 400, and then all the way up, like it's finer and finer and finer. And when you get that fine of diamonds on the surface without it being a cluster, it knocks off very easily because all you gotta do is knock one diamond off. But when you have clusters, you knock one diamond off, you're just getting down to thicker diamonds, right? Like if you have a pile of rocks, like a pyramid, right? If you knock off the top of one, you're just getting to thicker and thicker, more stacked diamonds. Hey, mother. Oh, sweetheart, just want to tell you my knife is fantastic. I loved you being here. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is fine. Thank you, mother. I appreciate you stopping in. Hope you're feeling a little bit better. Seth, I know, right? I'm OCD and that kind of thing is killing me. But yeah, mom, I hope you're feeling better, and I hope you're taking it easy too. Am I gay for wanting to spend my bonus at work on a Medford USMC fighter flipper? It's beautiful, but an insane amount of money. I wouldn't say that makes you a homosexual, but I mean, Medfords are great, man. I love Medfords. I think they do a really, really good job. They're super tough as nails, good warranty. Yeah, great guy to support. American. Yeah, what's up, Palmer? Why are you late? The fuck? Coming in late. Michael Upchurch, been a member for 19 months, man. Talk about support. What's the best way to make a factory edge sharper? Home. So I showed it in the beginning. You might not have been here, but get some sort of fine stone. You can use, there's a lot of things you could use. You can use an Arkansas, an natural stone. You can use my favorite, a Neve. Those are my favorites. These are resin bonded diamonds. You could use a ceramic. Now, I do think the best are going to be, like I said, resin bonded diamonds. Now, if you use an actual diamond plate, you're going to want like a really, really fine grit, like a 2000, 2500 grit. They don't go much higher than that though for diamond plates. So they might be difficult to find. But like I said, you can use an Arkansas if you're low on money or whatever. You can even use an aluminum oxide that's like 2000 grit, 3000 grit or something. And once you get it, you take your knife and you find your angle, and then you literally do a light pass, no pressure. You don't have to sit here and grind down into it. You're not sharpening. All you're trying to do is take the apex, and you're trying to take the teeth and go like this, push them out or push them back to true, and add little micro serrations like that, which is going to be the bite. Like when you touch your edge, that's the bite. That's what you're feeling. You're feeling micro serrations, right? So that's what you're feeling for when you're feeling for sharpness. Now, there's also a level of fineness, how thin it is, right? But the thinner it is with the specific amount of teeth or like well-placed teeth, because it's just like a saw blade, right? If you have a saw blade and I knock out one every three teeth, one out of every three teeth off that blade, it's not going to be the same when you're using it. But if it's nice and consistent and you have the scratch pattern or the teeth perfectly aligned and separated evenly, it's going to work a lot better. So that's what you're trying to do. So when you have it in your hand and you find your angle, very light pressure, and you just do one single pass on each side. And you can even do like 2 or 3 passes and 3 passes, but you're not going to need more than 5 passes per side. Now, that even just right there, that little tiny bit, holy shit. I didn't even really do anything either. So, and another thing, if you go across it and then you grab your knife and you can feel a burr, lower your angle. Your angle's too high. That's your problem. You do not want to get a burr with this, especially if you're using a 3,000 grit and higher, even like a 2,000 grit and higher. You don't want to feel a burr because you shouldn't have a burr. You're not trying to develop a burr. You're not trying to remove steel. The amount of steel you are removing in order to cut in micro serrations is so microscopic, you're not going to feel it from a burr. But if you do feel a burr, then that means your angle is up too high. drop it down. But you're not going to want to drop it down as much as I just did. I was just exaggerating. So like, say if I do this angle, right? And say if I get a burr, well, then I'm going to lower it that much. You probably couldn't even tell. Now, if I'm doing it and it's not doing anything but polishing the back of the bevel, I'm going to raise my angle. But when I raise it, it's going to be, again, ever so slightly. Just that tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. And do that, like I said, 3 to 5 passes per side with no pressure, and then feel the edge. You'd be surprised how, and maybe do like single passes too at the end. How do you strop an 8-inch chef knife one section at a time? No, I do the whole thing. I do the entire thing. I just go, you can set down the strap or you can hold it in your hand. It doesn't matter. And you just do a J pass. Let me grab one. So this is the stroppy stuff. You can see stroppy stuff. But you just do a J pass. So this is an 8-inch, maybe more. You do a J pass. And what I mean by J pass is like this. Go with the tip, because when you pull down like that, when you do that motion, it's a J, right? When you go down, you're just, all you're doing is getting the tip. That's what you're doing. You're literally taking the strap and going up the tip. So up the tip. Now, when I go up, I don't have to worry about stabbing into my leather to go up. I can do a J pass, and now I'm in the belly. So now all I have to do is drop my elbow and stroke across. Same thing in reverse. And I'll do some single passes. Not that you need to, but, and that right there is, ooh, yeah, that's fucking sharp, boy. It was pretty sharp before, but it was feeling a little toothy. I was wondering if I should even use it. Let's see here. Yo, what's good, everyone? What's going on, Jeremiah? Thank you for jumping in. The small groups who watch the live streams allow for all questions to be answered, and for the Rockstead members, the one-on-one sessions are the best way to go for those serious about learning. Yeah, Dan. Yeah. Yeah, if you are a Rockstead member of the memberships, because if you go into the memberships, which is always linked down in the description, the highest tier member is a Rockstead member, which does get one-on-one sharpenings if you choose. You don't have to take it, but if you want to, meaning you can do a one-on-one sharpening together. Jared, any insight into the heat treat quality of the F22 kickstop generally? I know overall it's a hitter, but was just curious if you had sharpened one. Yeah, but it's Riat. Riat does a really good job with their heat treatment. That's one thing you could say about Riat. And that just goes across the board. That's the reason why they're really good with what they do, is they do have real artisans working for them. You know, some of the guys that work for them, they've been raised in that industry since they were children. So they do take things a little bit more serious, and that's also why a lot of other things are a little bit better than you see from other companies, even down to the finishing work, lock, like a lot of different things. So yeah, they do a really good job with their heat treatment. I've sharpened a shit ton of Riat's M390 20 CV. Well, most of they use M390, and to be honest, M390 does better than 20 CV in cut tests. So they're basically the same steel. I'm not sure why, but for some reason, M390 seems to always do better. Somebody said the reason why the last time I made that statement. I forget why they said it or what they said, but it just is true. Like if you look at the results, right? If you look at the statistics or the numbers or whatever, that's what happens. And it just is what it is. You say you can't even debate it because the numbers show it. Nothing gets my girls wet who come over to leech off this player like some Neevesknives sharpening talk. Go pour me a double and take a seat, girls. You got it. You got it. Yeah, my EDC is 17 degrees. Hold at 20 degrees to shave. My wife got me an Open L number 9 from a B-Day. Does it need sharpening often with daily use? Yes. Yeah, it's a soft steel. That's a simple, super simple soft steel. But that's also the point of it, Tim. The point of that knife is to be a user out in the field. So it's so you can carry one of those little just aluminum oxide stone out in the field and be able to sharpen it up. You know, like if you were going to take it camping, hunting, fishing, or whatever, you know, out in the field, you don't want something in a lot of cases, maybe in some, because, you know, like some steels, you know, they'll just last you the whole trip. But you always run into that possibility of you doing something that's going to make any steel dull. Doesn't matter what fucking steel it is. So, you know, in that case, it's easier to reprofile, easy to hone, easy to strop back because it's a simple steel. But yeah, I would I'd say just you know, sharpen it up whenever it needs it, hone it. I'd say hone it and strop it until that doesn't work, and then sharpen it. But when you do sharpen it, it's super thin behind. Those are thin, so it won't take shit to sharpen. It'll sharpen up really easily. Even not even just considering the steel, just considering the blade geometry. Does anyone make CPM D2 better than CPM Crewwear? No, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think so. I mean, Medford does a really good job with their CPM D2. I thought Benchmade did a good job with their CPM D2, but I don't know about being better than CPM Crewwear. But, you know, I don't know. I'm sure that I'm sure if you get some shit Crewwear, you know, in the best D2, then yes. What's the best way to grind down your edge to a lower angle without sitting there for hours grinding away? A belt. Belt sharpening goes the fastest, but it's not a superior edge. So if you have a belt sharpened edge, it's a factory edge basically. If you do a belt sharpened edge, you're not going to get the most out of your edge, right? Yes, it'll sharpen up fast. Yes, it'll give you a sharp edge, but it's not going to be as sharp as a stone because there's going to be a slight convex. But number two, even if you have it perfectly flat, it doesn't matter. It's not going to last as long as a stone edge. Now, the best way, though, is just to use a coarser stone. Use a 100 or a 140. And if you're really doing something thick and crazy, you get a Beast, which is like 50 grit. But I don't know if they come in 6-inch stones. But anyways, I would just get a 140 Atoma. Get a 140 Atoma. That'll hog some steel off for you. I hope so, Mom. I hope you're better in 6 weeks. I just designed what may be the strongest knife lock ever. If I want to turn it into a real knife, how would I do that? You have to contact an OEM and see if they'd be willing to make you a prototype of whatever your knife design is, and then go from there. But you'd have to pay for it. I do feel like it's much easier to see the burr using light. If using a dry diamond plate with a guided system versus water benchstone, what's that? What? I do think it's much easier to see the burr using light if you're using a dry diamond plate with a guided system versus a water benchstone. Yeah, maybe, possibly. I don't use light. I use touch, but I do know some people that do use light and look for the reflection or look for it to shine back. You know, like what they do is you shine the light directly. Yeah, so you guys can see. You shine the knife directly at the edge, and then it'll reflect back if there's a burr. If there's not a burr, it won't reflect back because it's going to split the light, right? Because it's an apex, so it's going to split the light. But if it's shining back at you, right at the apex, then obviously there's a burr there, right? Pacow! Been a member for 7 months. Next knife. I use them every day, 200-ish range. Well, right, depends on what type of knife you're wanting. I know you're saying a user, but there's a lot of users. I'll say right now, there's a lot of deals going on in a lot of places. You can get, you said 200 range. I mean, you can get the F22. You could get a, but that's like almost 300. The best, I mean, Mannix. Get the GP knives, Mannix, man. I'm telling you, this is a lot less than 200, man. Unless you already have one, it's like 140 bucks, 130 bucks, something like that. Use my link down in the description. This thing is an absolute beast of a user. I can't express that enough. This thing is such a badass user. Now, you could also go 200 bucks and get a an MSI right now. Blade HQ link down in the description. Just type MSI at the top of the search bar under my Blade HQ link, and they're like 180 bucks, 170 something dollars. USA made. Both of those are USA made. For $325, you can get American Blade Works Model 1 titanium Magna Cut steel. That's badass. There's a lot of knives, man. Lots of knives. Here's the Prada Tout. I haven't talked about this knife in a long time. It's got the 9CR Damascus. What happened? Oh, there it goes. I don't know how long I was messed up, but okay, I'm totally sold. Can you list off the diamond plates to get one more time? If you're on a budget, get ultra sharp. If you have the money, get a Toma. If you really got money, get Venive. Venive resin bonded diamond stones. You're going to want 3 double-sided stones. It depends on what you're doing. If you want the same stones, but just different size depending on what you're wanting. Like if you're using freehand, then you're going to want the Phoenix or the Dragons. The Dragons are very expensive, but they're thicker resin, so they last a lot longer. The Phoenix are the same thing, but thinner resin, so they're not going to last as long, but they still last a very fucking long time, and they're still expensive. Now, these are 1x6 inch. These are for fixed angle. These aren't for freehand, even though you can freehand on them. I do it all the time, but I also have freehand stones. The Venives, so you want the Venives, or and you want the 3 double-sided stones, a coarse, medium, and then their finest, or the 800/1200. Otherwise, if you don't want to get the Atomas or whatever, you can go to my Hapstone link and get the Start stones. Don't mistaken when you see CBN. Make sure it says Start. This would be really, these are really good quality diamond plates. They are just a layer of diamonds over the surface. The cool thing with the Atomas is they do use clusters, but that's what I would say. So, and everything's linked down in the description between my Hapstone link and the Neevesknives store, and you can find stuff even in the work sharp. Yes, there you go, Todd. Thank you. That is it right there. 8120, 80, or sorry, no, it's 240, 400. So yeah, 8150. He's saying or. I got you, Todd. Yeah, because there's different coarse stones, so it doesn't matter which one you get. Todd's right. You can get the 8120 or the 8150. It doesn't matter. They're both coarse stones. That's the point. The point is they're your first stone. You always want your first stone to be 300 grit or less. Now, if it's a super thin geometry chef knife or something, yeah, you can get away with 400 grit. But on a balance of probabilities, when you're sharpening pocket knives and stuff, you want to start with a 300 grit or lower and then move up. You know, the 240, 400 would basically be like 600 grit and 1200 grit. The 800 would be 3,500 grit and 5,000 grit, because those right there, what Todd listed right there, those are F ratings. So F ratings are different than G ratings. There's J, G, and F. We use grit, right? So we use a G. So they use some other shit. But 1200 is 5,000 grit, because it's, and then because if you look at it, 1200 is 3/2 micron. Just look up the microns. That's how, if you really want to know what grit it is, look up the mic. Now, just be clear though, like say the 240, it really equals like 3 or like 400 or something, but it's really like a 600. I've literally put a 600 grit next to the 240, and it's as far as like the finish, you know, after I'm done, and it's identical. Hi everyone, how's it going? I have 20 worn tacks left in stock if anyone wants to pick one up. Shout out to Custom EDC Knives, been a member for 21 months. Hey, really quick while you're here, did the worn tack come out in 2023? as far as its release, not its prototype, but its release. Was it released in 2023? I was trying to figure that out. I need to just, I can look it up, but I figured you're here right now. Because those are that's a really good knife, and that's a knife that is also going to be in knife of the year. So it looks like he only has 20 left. I might have to cut it out. No, I'm just joking. I do leather work, so that's a that's good. I can fix that problem. Thanks for replying. If you do leather work, man, yeah, you're in business when it comes to strops. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd, for putting the links. Todd is putting the links in the comments for you guys. Can you actually apply more pressure with those resin bonded without repercussions? I know the electroplated diamond plates really don't handle pressure very well, so it's slow to sharpen. It doesn't matter. I would say you don't want to usually apply a lot of pressure for a couple reasons. Like if you're freehanding, you only want to apply the amount of pressure you can handle and hold, right? So like say if I'm going to sharpen, I don't want to sit here and bear down pressure. Let me move this. I don't want to sit here and bear down pressure, and then 3 minutes in, it's difficult for me to hold that angle. So I want to be able to put as much pressure as it takes for me to be able to hold that angle for a good amount of time. You know, so that's going to it's going to be different for different people, but you don't need to apply a lot of pressure. The diamonds are cutting. Of course, if you apply more pressure, yes, diamonds cut faster. It's just the way shit works. But you don't want to consider that as far as like, I want to push as hard as I can to make it go faster. You know, it just means apply a little bit of pressure, not a lot of pressure, just a little tiny bit. So a pound or two, you know, a couple pounds of pressure. It's all you need. Now, for honing, you want very, very light pressure. You don't want pressure. But for sharpening, right, the beginning stones, you can use some pressure. But then the farther you go up, right, when you get to the fine and ultra fines and stuff, you don't need a lot of pressure because remember, you're refining the scratch pattern. So it's a different, your goal is different to some extent. You know, when you flipped your, and also really quick about a burr, just so people understand about a burr. When you sharpen one side, right? So you sharpen this side, the burr's going to be on this side, right? So I sharpen this side, right? My burr's on this side, right? Well, when I flip over to do this side, I'm going to fold my burr over. I'm going to go from tip to heel and do a single pass, maybe even two. And all I'm trying to do is take the burr that I had on the edge and flip it over to the other side. Now, what that's going to do is after I go through my stones, and I've done that with every side, so that means every stone, I've done it at least twice, maybe even more, depending on how you're sharpening and how much work you have to do and so on and so on. But by the time you get to your last stone, you flip the burr 5, 6, 7, 10 times. Who knows however many stones you go through, right? Whatever your finishing stone is. But by the time you get to your finishing stone, now your burr is already fatigued. So now it's a lot easier for that fucker to snap off and go away when you're ready to do a burr removal. That is a huge thing. That's like a pro tip right there. It's a professional tip for anybody. Because a lot of people get confused on when to remove the burr. Should they strip the burr off for every stone? You don't have to strip the burr off for every stone. For every stone, what you want to do is flip the burr, not tear it off. Because what will happen is if you try to tear it off, especially with a coarse stone, what could happen is it could tear out micro steel on the apex that you won't even notice really, right? But it might lead you to poor edge quality, or also in the end, when you have to strip off your final burr, right? It might be a little more problematic. And if you do what I'm saying, where you flip and knock the burr over to the other side, then when you go to the next stone, flip, knock the burr over to the other side, sharpen that side, the burr will accumulate on the other side, flip, knock the burr over to the other side. You're basically flipping it with every time you flip the knife. After you sharpen this side, you're going to flip the burr to the other side, sharpen this side, and flip the burr, you know, back and forth. So then by the time you're at your last stone, that burr will just snap right off. And then you'll reveal a clean apex with a nice refined scratch pattern, and it'll be really nice. But you want to do your burr removal on your last stone for the most part. I'm using my membership chat to shout out Custom EDC and his worn tags. Pick one up. They're amazing. If I wasn't so damn broke, I'd be all, let me just show you guys because I got it right here. Because I got my video coming for best knives of 2023, but I can't remember if this one was finished in 2023 or if it was 2022. But this is the worn tag, y'all. Nice, deep, hollow ground, Wharncliffe blade. A perfect example of a Wharncliffe, by the way. You can see I've been using mine. Micro milled titanium scales, cut out for the lock bar on the inside. Beautiful titanium mill pocket clip. Great access to the lock bar. Sharp control and plunge guide. Not the best, but it's okay. You can always add your own in, by the way, because there's nothing in the back right there. This is actually a pretty easy one to add a notch in, but, you know, you can just sharpen it. But the ergonomics are super good. I love that you can cut backwards real easily. The pinch grip, because of it having the moon shape, you can really get good detailed grip, you know, cut in there. And then because it has a nice straight edge, it's going to hold a cut for, you know, a nice amount of time. Great reverse flicking detent or thumb flicking. But yeah, it's a badass knife. I wish I had an affiliate link to it. I'll tell you that much. Let me put this away, and hopefully he left me a comment on when that thing was released. And shout out to Dan, by the way. Thank you for being a member for 6 months. That's what I heard, Todd. I've actually heard that a few times. You're not the first person that said that. I probably heard that a dozen times now, that DMTs used to be really, really good. And I remember it was probably about a year after I got into the community. Somebody brought that. It was Rough Rooster. That's who did it. Rough Rooster said he bought some new ones, and he's like, these are not like the ones I got before. He was saying that they weren't perfectly flat. He said, you know, the diamonds were being knocked off a lot easier. It wasn't like it used to be. I don't know if they want going overseas to overseas manufacturing or what they did. I have no idea at all, but I've heard that statement a lot. Now, a lot of people still live by DMTs, and there's nothing wrong with that. DMTs are good, fucking good stones, good diamond plates. But just like with anything, there's just different levels, you know, and some are better than others. Some are more money than others. But they're going to give you the same, you know, the same goal is still going to be the same. Like everything's going to be pretty much the same. You're still going to have a diamond edge, diamond finish, so on and so on. I want the Gale Bradley 2 and a Vision and a Smock. That's about it. Well, if you get the Gale Bradley 2, make sure you are prepared to modify it, because you're going to want to cut a lock bar in there, or lock bar access in, because that thing is horrible to disengage, man. I hated it. I couldn't stand closing that knife because it's just so tight. Now, once you fix it by cutting in yourself some lock bar access, it's a badass knife. The Vision is badass. The Vision FG especially. I'd say the Civivi is even better than the Wii version. I'm wondering if they're going to do a Wii version of the new version. And yeah, the Smock. I love the Smock. I love the Capara. I like a lot of Spider Joes. I love them all pretty much. Clobber says he'll be content. Did you answer my question, Custom EDC? Did you, Mom? You saw that? Would you see it on? Oh, it must have transferred over to Facebook because that's what you watch. I posted it on Instagram and TikTok, and I guess they automatically go over to Facebook. I don't post anything on Facebook. It just automatically does it for me. Good shit, though. I don't even know how many followers I have on there. How many followers do I have on Facebook? I haven't been on there in years. I have like 1 million. I'd be fucking freaking out. I'm going back over to Facebook. I love my Rec 25 Mannix, but can't make my Spy 27 sharp. Need a better 200 grit and a 600 finish stone. Yeah, man, definitely use diamonds, right? As long as you get diamonds, I would say, yeah, get a something under 300, reprofile it, set your bevel, and then move to a 400 or a 600, and then refine it with that. And then from there, you can go to 800 to 1,000 grit, or stick with the 600. doesn't matter. 600 grit is my favorite type of edge for the most part. So you can stick with a 600, but make sure you just cut in a new bevel. Your problem probably is the edge, or sorry, the factory edge might have been burnt. It might have had some issues. So cut in yourself a new bevel, get yourself into some good steel, and reset it. I have actually experienced, and I'm not saying this is happening to you because yours is a Spyderco, which I doubt this is the case. So I'm not saying that this is your what your problem is, but I've been on, I've had some steels that were so soft, or sorry, so burnt at the edge that, which, I mean, I guess Spyderco could be guilty of this, but it was so burnt at the edge that it was like sharpening Play-Doh. Like, it was so weird. Like the steel, instead of shaving off, I'm trying to think of the word for it. It became like a fiber. I can't fucking think of how to explain it. Like, it like crystallized, and it almost became like little shreds of paper almost, you know, where it was like furry, and it would just wouldn't come off. Like, you could sharpen the whole side. The burr was the most weirdest burr I ever seen, and it just won't come off. The burr won't come off, and it took until I sharpened up and sharpened enough times that I got into good steel, and I felt it. I literally felt it when I got into good steel. It was a difference between like it's kind of like if I took a soft steel, like I'm talking about like a dog shit soft steel, and I scraped it across the stone, you would hear it go like, but if I took something very hard, it'd sound like, it's going to be different. You're going to hear the hardness, kind of like you smack a piece of wood versus a ceramic plate. You're going to notice the differences in hardness, right? Well, same type of concept. Do you have any Ferrum Forge knives? Yes, I have a lot of Ferrum Forge knives. I love Ferrum Forge. Shit, I got one right here. Check this out. I haven't pulled this one out in a while. Check that baby. I love this knife, man. Woo. Yeah, there's a lot of amazing Ferrum Forge knives. My favorite's probably the Allurus and the Archbishop 3.0 because I have a regrind on the 3.0. This one's badass too, though. They don't make this one anymore. Otherwise, it'd probably be my favorite. But it would make you half a slang word for being gay. You brought it up. Just Nate's been a member for 14 months. Nothing but loving you, Jared. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Much love back. I just designed. Oh, I already read this. What am I doing? Did I back up somehow? Mark Parks. Shout out to Mark. He became a new member. I will see you on Sunday. Sunday. We will have, and we have another one, Adventure. Shout out to you, man. I'm scrolling down, man. I'm missing a lot. 10 bones from Christian. Thank you, man. Great recommendations on the Rex 45 Mannix. My third Mannix. Got a bottle of Jazz Club. Same, fuck yeah, man. Same day. Banger scent and another recommendation. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. What a badass scent. Yes, Jazz Club. It's a sweet tobacco a cocktail scent. It's supposed to smell like a Jazz Club. And I think a 2013 Jazz Club, and it is badass. It's a great fragrance, especially if you're into tobacco fragrances, which I do like, especially sweet tobaccos. And yeah, man, the Rex 45, man, it is something badass. You know, I'm starting it, and I'm not saying that this is my favorite one or anything, but this one is really, really fucking growing on me. And guys, thank you guys for signing up to the memberships. Like I said, Mark and Adventurer, you guys are awesome. I will be seeing you guys on Sunday if you guys do show up. Christian, thank you again for the 10 bones. Todd, thank you for linking the NEEVEKNIVECO site. We will have Jack Wolf's on the 15th. So on the 15th, we will have Jack Wolf's. If you're going to buy one of the, where the fuck is it? If you're gonna buy a Jack Wolf after hours, make sure you go to the NEEVEKNIVECO link. We won't have many of these. We'll only have like one version of this one, but we will have a couple of the other ones, and then like 8 or so of the jig pattern ones. I'm thinking about getting another one but maybe not. We'll see. But I will have those on the site, including a bunch of Civivis, some Wiis, and some Sun Cuts. Trying to get some more USA made knives. We're looking into it. We're trying. They're not as easy. Neferis or Padre or Drift XL. Oh, you motherfucker. Well, I would say I'll pick the Neferis over the Padre. Even though the Padre is fucking sweet. I love the Padre. I want to be clear. I love the Padre. And it's tough, man. It's tough because they are both so good. But as far as the Drift XL, I would say they're just so different because check this out. I got them both right here. This is snappy action with amazing action, great reverse flick. This is fidget factor, right? You have fidget factor and capabilities, use. You got a lot going on right here. Amazing geometry, beautiful fit and finish, great everything. This, sorry, not that one. This is, yes, a mega slicer. It's impervious to the environment, meaning like it's not going to rust or anything, but it's on washers. So you have a stiffer action. It's not as satisfying to flick or anything like that. If you don't care about that, then I'd probably tell you to get the Drift because it's so slicey. It's so like monotone and just, in my opinion, a gorgeous looking knife. But if you care anything about action, man, the Neferis is hard to beat. Yeah, the Neferis is badass, man. I freaking love this thing. I've been carrying the shit out of it. And actually, I'm not making this a statement like I'm signing it in blood or anything, but that 20 CV is doing a lot better than most of all the other 20 CVs I see that come from Wii. Now, I'm not saying that they're stepping up their game. It could be just a fluke. It could be just this one. It might not be yours, but mine is doing pretty good. I've honed it back already like 6 times and it just keeps coming back. And that's usually a decent indicator that the steel's pretty good. It can be. Spoke with Dave Warren today. What a great guy. He is a great dude. Both the NV4 and the Wrath are fantastic knives. Highly recommend. Absolutely. I recommend those too. I love them both. And Dave Warren, man, great guy. Awesome guy. The Padres, great, man. I mean, I would say like if you like, there is gonna be some level of what you like the look of, right? Because both of them are great. The Padre has a great front flipper. The Neferis has like the best back flip or flipper, not back flip, sorry. The best regular flipper because of how it's positioned, right? It's so high up, above the pivot that it cranks out there. Now the Padre has a reverse flick, so does that one. One's more of a sheep's foot, one's a clip point. So they're very different. Now the micro milling, yes, I usually like the micro milling a little bit more on a Padre. And tomorrow I will have an affiliate link to Kunwu knives. So watch for that because I have a Kunwu video going up. I do have a brand new Kunwu and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I do got one in. Rams, thank you for the 5 bones. Can a flat spot along the blade be worked out with a strop, or should I take it back to the stones using a KME and a strop bat? Thanks for the advice. Yeah, man, you're not going to be able to get it out with a strop. That's for sure. So you might be able to hone it, but that's still taking it back to the stones. So I'll say you could either one, you're going to have to drop it all the way back down to your coarse and go coarse, medium to fine, but it'll go fast because it's just one flat spot. But what you could do is you could just try to hone it like I've been doing on these knives right here and just try to realign the edge a little bit and might come out with that. So to take the flat spot out, you need a ceramic or just do a few passes with your stones. So a ceramic. So I wouldn't say a ceramic is going to take out the flat spot unless if it's just the teeth like this. Right, then it'll realign it and it can work. But don't use a ceramic for sharpening. Not that it doesn't remove steel, but it's a finishing stone, right? It's more of a finishing and a honing stone. So when you use it, you're going to be using it as a burr remover. That's one thing. I love using it as a burr remover. You can straighten out your edge with it. You can add little micro serrations on your apex with it. You can do a lot with a ceramic, but it's not going to be like a steel removing stone. You're not like, you would never reprofile on a regular ceramic plate, maybe on like a Shapton or something like that, but not on a ceramic plate. So but you might be able to get it out with a ceramic though, as long as it's that type of flat spot. It depends on what the flat spot's from. Like say if you hit something, like if you tap something with it and that's what you gave a flat spot, yeah, it'll probably take it out because it'll just push it back. If the steel's all there, if it's just a tiny dent, you know, or something, yeah, it'll probably get it out. Listen to this. Well, you didn't say anything, Ryan. Definitely Garth. Okay. Those micro mill titanium scales look good. All right, I'm gonna scroll all the way down. We got to get the fragrance of the day. I'm sorry, I'm backed up. I don't have story of the day, but I mean we can talk about some stories. I thought about talking about poor foods, because you know I remember some meals. We'll get into it in a second. So, fragrance of the day. I actually have a couple. I wanted to do something super masculine. That was my idea around today's fragrance, right? I wanted to wear something nice and masculine, something great. And I picked for myself Club Duni Intense Man. It smells like Creed Aventus, which is a very expensive fragrance. This is a very affordable fragrance, but it basically smells like pineapple plant in a good way with a lot of freshness. So it's a super fresh, very manly, very masculine scent. I would say it's also, how do I say this? Because I'm going to talk about this other scent. So let me go to the other scent and then we'll pull them up. So the other one is Lom Rojas. This one, in my opinion, is a barbershop fragrance. Now, this one's a little bit more mature. So some younger gentlemen might smell this and be like, that smells a little bit older than I'd like. But if you're over the age of 35, you'll probably love it, or maybe even the age of 30. But here's the thing. When you spray it and you let it dry down, it gets a little bit more youthful, right? But it just right out of the bottle, when you smell it like that, it smells a little bit mature. But as you let it die down, it gets more youthful as it dies down, and it becomes a very nice barbershop scent. It literally smells like you're fresh out of the barbershop. You just got done with the shave. It lathered you up really good, and it's really good. Very masculine again. Both of these super masculine fragrances. The last one, which is the most expensive one, and in a balance of probabilities, is probably going to be the best scent out of the three as far as what's appealing to women. This one would be considered a very masculine, sexy fragrance. Definitely a sexy fragrance. And that is Bleu de Chanel. Now, Bleu de Chanel, the problem with it is that there are some fragrances that are like just as good as it for a lot less. Not the same scent, but you know, it's a very blue fragrance, meaning fresh shower jelly type of fragrance. So it literally smells like you're fresh out of the shower, but it has the this masculinity to it that's really good with this it's almost like a citrusy sexiness to it that makes it really, really good. It's very appealing to women. Women freaking love this one. This is one that you know, you could wear on a date. You could wear anywhere, really. It's a great signature scent too, but this one's the most expensive. Like I said, the Club Duni Intense Man is going to be probably the most versatile. That's what I was trying to go for. This is going to be more of a versatile fragrance. This one's definitely one that's super versatile, but it's going to be not as monotone. You know, like it has a little bit more, not depth, but more to it. This one's just a super masculine, fresh scent. Every man's going to like it. No man's going to hate this, and at least I wouldn't think so. It's Creed Aventus, basically. That's what it is. And then, like I said, this is barbershop. Let's check out the notes really quick, and then we'll get to story time. So, Club Duni Intense Man. Almost done. There we go. So you can see now, don't pay attention to the fruitiness so much, because the fruity is the citrus. It's a pineapple scent. It's not pineapple candy. It's literally like a pineapple plant. It's like real, you know, the real scent. So it's not going to be like something that you smell. I'm sure it has artificial scents in it, but what I mean is it doesn't smell like a piece of fucking candy. It smells like like a real fruit, you know, like if you were smelling the plant before you chopped it open. Leather, yes. Smoky, yes. Woody, yes. Aromatic, yes. Sweet, no. Fresh, yes. And musky, yes. Sweet, get rid of the sweet. It's a different kind of sweet. It's not the kind of sweet that you're thinking of. It's not like your girlfriend's fragrance sweet. This is a more masculine type of sweetness that you would get from like a pineapple plant, like I said. But it's so subdued that nobody would smell this and say, that's a sweet fragrance. Nobody would say that. Now, if you want a sweet version of this, get Alexandra Game Time, one of my all-time favorite fragrances. It's basically, it is this fragrance mixed with another fragrance that's also very popular. It's a sweet fragrance, and they basically bred a baby. Now, the next one. The next one is Lome Rojas. Now, this is the one that I said is the barber shop fragrance. And you can see right here, aromatic, fresh, spicy, warm, spicy. It's not a spicy fragrance. I want to be clear. I know they say spicy twice, but it's not a spicy fragrance. Sweet, citrus, woody, fruity, vanilla, patchouli, and earthy. Yes, 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 and yes. Sweet. The sweetness is super light. Very, very, very light. Like you would not smell it and say it's a sweet fragrance. But like I said, as it dies down, it gets more youthful. So that's when the sweetness comes out. It takes about 10 minutes and then you'll start picking up set notes of it, but it blends together. All these notes right here are blended beautifully together. Like I said, you have to let it die down though, because when you get that first spray, you're like, that's a little too mature. Like if you don't like mature fragrances, but you'll notice right away it'll start dying down and then it starts becoming more youthful. And I don't mean any offense by the by that. Let me see if I can just look it up right here. And then the other one is what was it? Oh, blue de come on. Yep. All right, so here is, oh, can you guys see that? Yeah, Blue Edition Chanel. Is it mine's the EDP, right? Yes, the EDP. So citrus, amber, woody, warm, spicy, aromatic, fresh, spicy, smoky, balsamic, fresh, and green. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys to, if you guys want to get any of these, just look them up, just search for them, because the links that I would be able to provide are going to be more money than you can buy them for on discounters. So just look for them on a discounter site. I sometimes can link them for the same price, like say the Alexandra Game Time and stuff like that. I can link those for the same prices, but like this is going to be outrageous if I linked it. So but it is a very, 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 very popular fragrance as far as with the ladies and men that like to pick up ladies. What's up, Blades and Fades? Shout out to you, brother. I've been sending you some work. I'm not sure if you've gotten it, because I wound up sending a bunch to Lacey. I feel like you were a little bit packed there. A couple of them were saying that you weren't able to get back to them, but I told them that you were probably just super busy. I wore Game Time for work and got so many compliments. I bet you did, Joshua. I bet you did. That's what I'm talking about, man. That one's an absolute banger because it mixes masculinity and a little bit of sweetness together to make just a beautiful fragrance. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I was actually wearing it. I got a bunch of compliments too, many different times. It's getting me a ton of compliments. So yes, that one's an absolute banger. What's another banger? There's a lot of them. All right, so story time. Story time. I want to talk about foods that you made when you didn't have no money, right? Whether you were poor or not. I know a lot of people in here probably grew up poor. Some people maybe not, but everybody has like a meal that they've eaten and maybe eaten a lot of times because there was nothing else and it was easy to make or whatever. I'll give you guys an example, right? So I grew up, I grew up pretty poor. And one thing that we would eat is cracker cereal. So if you didn't have any cereal and you had crackers, saltine crackers, you took a big bowl or a bowl and you took the crackers and you just crushed them up, put some milk on it and throw some sugar on it. Well, the sugar mixed with the salt from the saltine crackers actually makes it taste pretty good. And I ate that shit even all the way up until I didn't need to. But I know you get used to things, but like I ate it when I was a kid because my dad would eat it, right? And he taught me how to make it or whatever. And you know, we didn't always have anything in the cabinet, so you know, you ate what you had. And then, you know, it just over time, there were several times like where I just found myself craving it and I would eat it. But my dad was the type of person, like, until he died, he ate mayonnaise sandwiches, like literally mayonnaise and bread. He also had mayonnaise and tomatoes. He'd eat a mayonnaise lettuce sandwich. He would eat a mayonnaise anything sandwich. But and that was just, you know, because, you know, back in the day, you know, when they were younger or poor or whatever, that was just a quick, easy meal to eat, you know, when you need to get some calories in your stomach and, you know, you're broke. And it can go, you know, a little bit far. Yeah, we're hitting story time. Like I said, if you guys have any topics, just blurt them out and I'll come up with something. My broke ass would eat water and ice for cereal. We used to make ice cream out of the snow. So my mom would take us outside. We'd get the snow and we'd bring it inside, and she'd pour like a little bit of milk on there and pour a little bit of sugar and you know, sweeten it up in a little bit of vanilla, and then we put it in the freezer for a little bit, and it was pretty good. You know, it was very icy, but still though, it was, you know, it was a good effort. And when you're a kid, man, that type of shit's banging. So, you know, you gotta do what you can. Mustard sandwiches. There you go. Mustard Sammys. Fucking up NAF's free hand. What? What does that mean? I used to do some graham crackers and milk as a kid. Yeah, I think, but like that's more like dipping. Like obviously we've all done cookies and milk, you know, and graham crackers and milk, Pop Tarts and milk, things like that. But I'm more thinking like you don't have anything and you need to put something together, right? Like you're broke. There's nothing in the cabinets. You take the few things you have. Like for most people, it's ramen noodles, right? Everybody that was poor had ramen noodles. You know, the packs were so cheap and you could buy the big ass box full of ramen noodles. And it's not good for you. For damn sure, it's not good for you. But you know, it'll give you a light meal in the stomach that's very, very affordable. I've been busy. Wait, between work, dad life, family, and all that good stuff, my sharpening books are currently wide open. Thank you for everything you do. Awesome. Well, I'll keep that in mind, man. Just check your request folder because that's usually where they probably end up. I know I got to check mine constantly. I sleep for oh man, I've done that a lot. Eating some sleep. You're fucking starving beyond starving to the point to where you're thinking about robbing a fast food place. I've done that. I've literally been so hungry where I literally made a plan to steal the food coming out of the window, you know, to the car, run up and get it. But and then you wind up having to go to sleep that hungry. You can't even sleep. It's so impossible to sleep. Like it's nearly impossible to sleep. And what happens is the most fucked up thing is you're so hungry, you're dreaming of food. So then you wake up even hungrier. And also another thing is that a lot of times in the dream, you have food all around you, but you just can't get to it or you can't eat it or something. So it's even worse. You wake up pissed. You wake up swinging at the stars. Angry as fuck. Oh man, macaroni and ketchup. Oh shit. I remember one time we did ketchup and noodles trying to make spaghetti because we didn't have nothing else. We literally had it was tomato paste. Sorry, not ketchup. We had tomato paste and noodles, and that's all we had. And it was so disgusting. But we were like on another level of hungry. And this was me, my brother Andrew, and my best friend Tom. And we made that shit happen though. We ate some of it. It wasn't good. I can still taste it right now. I just ended up stealing because of that. I've been there too. I've done that. Obviously, I've done that. I've definitely done that many times. But sometimes, excuse me, it's impossible to steal. Maybe you're too far away or you have no way. Like, you know, especially when you're young, you don't have a car. So, you know, obviously you can wait till the next day and ride your bike or walk somewhere, but if it's in the middle of the night or something, you know, like a lot of times, you know, you think you can make it. You're right. You're like, I can make it till tomorrow, right? But then you realize come 8, 9 o'clock, it's getting later and later, and you're getting fucking delusional with thinking about food. And morals stand in my way. Knock on the back door of an Italian restaurant. Don't know why, but they feed poor teenagers. Yeah, I'm sure, but then you'd have to have, you know, you'd have to know of an Italian place. Like the problem is like some of the places, like depends on where you're at, right? Because I know places, man, if you walk in and ask for something, some of those places they'll give you something. If you're like legit, like if they see you coming in, they see you buying food, they you know, you can see that. But if you're, you know, like because they deal with so many people coming in trying to start shit to get free food that they're sick of it. They're so fucking sick of it. Like they're sick of walking out in the back and seeing bums and this and that, and you can't blame them. But yeah, if you got a good reputation with them, or, you know, or if they haven't seen you a lot, then yeah, you probably get away with it. I've definitely had a couple places serve me pretty well. Man, I don't even want to tell the story. One time and man, this is kind of sad. I had gotten arrested. I don't remember for what. It doesn't matter for what. Point is I got out of jail. I got out of jail, and what I was in was like so because I had been working and like all these other things, so I looked like shit. I mean, like I look like shit. But when you walk out of jail, it's not like they wash your clothes for you. Like I remember this one time. I'll go back to the story. This one time I was getting out, right, and I'm in a room with the other guys that are getting out, right, and we're just literally waiting to get out, and this guy is where because we're all back in our clothes, our outside clothes. We're literally getting changed into it. And he stinks so bad. Now he didn't go to jail stinking. What happened was he got arrested in the rain. He got arrested in the rain and it mildewed, and he was there for weeks. So the clothes were absolutely drenched. And so they packed them up, and now they're all mildew. And I mean, it was so bad, like it was the most fucking horrid smell. I wouldn't have been able to put the shit on. I can't stand that smell. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm taking the jail outfit with me. Like, fuck that. Like, come on. Anyways, like they can't be sanitary. Anyways, I was fresh out and kind of in the same situation to some extent. Not as bad as that, but I looked bad, you know, and it's hard, you know, to go to jail and come out looking good. Unless if you've been in there for a long time, that's different, right? But when you spend 3 days or something in there, you're gonna look a little bit worse, you know, especially if it's like 3 to 5 days, a week later, whatever. Anyways, so I had to walk to the McDonald's that wasn't far away. Like the jail's like a block away, like 2 blocks away, 3 blocks away, something like that. So I walked to the McDonald's, and the thing is a lot of homeless people go to this McDonald's. Like when you go there, there's a lot. Like, you know, they're all over the parking lot, they're on the inside. And I went there, and this lady, and I actually had like 30 bucks in my pocket. Like, you know, I was broke, but I had 30 bucks. So I wasn't broke. You know, this lady walked up to me and asked me and tried to give me money, right? And you know, you want to accept it, but I had too much pride, so I told her no, you know. And then she kept coming back to me and asking me if I was okay. Like she was trying to help me, and I didn't need help, right? I didn't need help, and the type of help I needed, she couldn't do. You know what I mean? Anyways, but I remember thinking like this lady thinks that like I'm homeless or something, you know. That's what she's thinking because I don't want to tell her, no, lady, I just walked out of jail, right? I'm out of jail for 35 minutes, right? I haven't slept in 3 days. I haven't eaten 4, you know, like fucking I look like shit. I know, you know, I'm wearing my same outfit that I was wearing when I got off of work 3-4 days ago. That's been all crumbled up in a fucking bag somewhere. So yeah, anyways, made me feel like shit though, and it made me think like, you know, because that's embarrassing, you know, it's embarrassing, humiliating, you know, for somebody to look at you and say, you look so bad, I think you are this and you need help. And I'm trying to help you. And she was being a sweetheart. She was trying. She was really trying. And then this was the messed up part. She left. And then I went to get in line to actually get something to eat because at first I didn't care about eating. I was just trying to use my phone because they had Wi-Fi there and shit like that. And the phone was fucked up. So I was trying to use the Wi-Fi to call somebody to come get me. Like I said, I had like 20, 30 bucks in my pocket or something like that. I got in line to finally get something to eat. And this black lady walks up to me and is like, "Don't worry, baby, I got you." I'm like, motherfucker. She thinks I ain't got money for food now. And I'm like, no. I was like, no, I'm cool. And she watches me pull a 20 out of my pocket and she looks shocked. Like, and I'm thinking, like, man, this is so bad. Like, this is so bad. This looks so bad. Everybody in here thinks I'm these guys. You know, and I'm not saying anything bad about those guys. Like, I've helped those guys so many times. You know, it's crazy. But when you are perceived to be one of those guys, man, you're not doing things right. I'll tell you that much. Joe the Knife Guy has been a member for a month. Hate I missed most of the live stream tonight. It's no problem, Joe. And don't forget, all the members, Sunday, we do have a members live sharpening. Don't miss that. And that will be on Sunday at 12:15 Central Time. Dog One says, great things is in the country. If you are able-bodied, you'll eat, even if you're not. No, that's true. That's very true. You know, like I can tell you stories about, you know, because real hungry, when you're real poor, we all go to the same place. And that's why, like, I've said this before, but you know, like I heard this one lady one time, and she was on some podcast or something, but she was talking as if she was like grew up like hungry and poor and stuff, which was so full of shit. You could see it through her, right? She was talking about being in college and being hungry, right? It's like, bitch, you're in college, right? Let's be clear, right? Real poor people that are really starving don't get to go to college. Like, let's be fucking clear about that. They don't go to college. They drop out of school and get a job, right? My last grade, I graduated, was 9th grade. So I went to 10th for about 10 minutes. Till the cop showed up at my door. Anyways, but anyway, so you always go to the same place. Anybody who's grew up poor, anybody who struggled, you go to the same place, which is the food bank. You go stand in line at the food bank. You go there. You get a meal in the morning. You know, like they'll make a meal for everybody. You know, it's a lot of homeless people. Some people aren't homeless. A lot of people have homes, but it helps the stores around the neighborhood donate the food that's going to be going bad soon. And so it gives it to the families that are hungry. And then they also make a meal. So you get a hot meal when you go there, or whatever type of meal, and something to drink, some coffee, stuff like that. And then you can take a box and you can go around the circle and grab things that you want, right? The problem is that if you're a regular person there, which you can be, they don't care. You can absolutely be a regular person there, and they want you to be there, right? That when the first time they see you and they know you're new, they'll give you extra. They'll try to literally give you extra. They know, like, if you've made it to here, you're hurting right now. So they try. But once you've been there so many times, that you get the same stuff, and there's the same stuff that you just can't eat. Like, just for an example, like beans or something, right? There's only so many fucking beans you can eat. There's only so much rice you can eat. There's only so much, you know, like this. I remember this one like time they kept giving these cranberries, which were so delicious the first month or two, but eventually you're getting sick. Like, you just eat one and you want to throw up because you can't handle eating more of those. So it does become that, and there'll be like a handful of things that they have there that are new, but that's literally the first thing you eat. So the next day you're out of food and you still have another week left till they redo it. So then, you know, like what people do is they'll usually find multiples on different days. And sometimes they have to lie in order to get in, because you're only allowed to go to the ones in your own community. You're not supposed to go out of state, go out of town, or anything like that. So like depending on the count, or sorry, depending on the city you're in, you're supposed to be from that city, right? But there's other ones in other cities that might be better. And, you know, they'll let you get away with one time going in there. But then the second, third time, they want to see ID. But they usually know people don't have IDs and stuff. So they'll let you through a few times. Yes, I'm in the same with sausages. Not exactly a poor food, but I mean the cheapest beef ones. And it gives me trauma. My aunt and uncle in Chicago were poor as fuck as she put him through school and ate peanut butter sandwiches every day for years. I've done that. That was actually one of the things that you always got at the food bank was peanut butter. And that's another thing you get sick of. You think of peanut butter, man, good source of protein, all these things. But like I said, when you eat something for months on end or weeks on end or whatever, it becomes a line to where you can't handle any more of it. Your body's just revolting from it. Put them through school and ate peanut butter sandwiches every day for years, but now they're multimillionaires and still frugal as fuck. You know, when I was a kid, the school, because a lot of kids are poor, right? A lot of kids are poor. A lot of kids came from broken homes. You know, I was blessed to have a father and a mother, not in the same home, but still, you know, I was definitely very blessed to have a family. But a lot of people didn't have that. A lot of people, you know, just had a mother, and the mother was struggling, like fucking struggling. And a lot of them were my friends. But what they would do is, so if you came to school and you didn't have any money and you didn't have a lunch, you could walk up and request a poor man's meal, basically. And what they would do is they'd give you a rice cake with peanut butter over it. That's what you got. So you ate a rice cake with peanut butter over it. But hey, man, at lunchtime when you're starving and you know, you ain't got lunch, it works. Shit. Edward Cole versus Herman. Edward Cole. I don't know. I don't think I've tried Edward Cole. Edward Cole. Oh, shit. I'm not sure if I've tried Edward Cole knives. Let's all look at it together really quick. I'm sure maybe some of you guys have tried it. Let me click on one of these really quick. I don't. Chime. Oh, wait, no, I have tried one of these. So if this is right, Edgar Cole, you said, or is it Edward? Pause it. Wait a second. I might be messed up. Was it Edward Cole or Edward Cole versus Herman? This is Edgar Cole. Are we talking about Edgar Cole or Edward Cole? No, I don't know. Oh man. Anyways, let's act like we're talking about this guy. I tried, which one did I try? Maybe it wasn't this. Maybe I'm thinking of a different knife. I think I'm thinking of a different knife that looks very similar to this, but they suck at pictures. Okay, so I haven't tried these. No, I do not know about these. I actually contacted this guy and seen, I think, if he wanted to get a knife on the channel, but he said he couldn't. So I respect it, whatever. Like I said, not a big deal. But no, I've never tried it. So I would have to recommend a Herman because I haven't tried it. And right there, thank you, Todd. Todd's on top of that shit. Polish Custom Knives. Shout out to Polish Custom Knives. I would recommend the Herman Ishtar. That's what I would recommend. Between those two. Now, again, admittedly, I haven't tried an Edward Cole. And I'm going to look up and see if I can find an actual Edward Cole now. Edward Cole knives. It keeps bringing me back to Edgar. Cole's Custom Knives. Edgar. That's Edgar Cole again. Is this it? No. Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't find it for some reason. Gotta love a pack of ramen and a cheap can of chili. Used to call it Jello Chili Mac. Yeah, in jail you come up with all different kinds of little things to make things out of ramen noodles and, you know, bags of chips and this and that, like, you know, with all kinds of little meals. It's amazing how inventive you get when you're limited. Like, dude, there's some smart motherfuckers in there. And it's fuck powdered milk. Yeah, I hate powdered milk, but I've definitely had to live on it, man. I've lived on it many, many times. Shit, in jail, it's all you get. is powdered milk. Not that I've ever served long bits in jail, but still though, you know, doing a couple weeks in jail still sucks just drinking powdered milk. But I've had to have it in my own life, like at home. So there was times I remember using canned milk, literally getting canned milk, you know, and you condensed milk, using that shit, done everything. No, I'm trying right now because they don't have any of the, I think it's the Ovium 2. So I asked Polish Custom Knives if there's been a Herman that came out in 2023. They said yes. I think there was the Ovium 2, I believe. I said, is there any possible way for me to get it on the channel before the end of 2023? He said they're going to try. I don't think it's going to happen because it's so close right now, but maybe it will. And I'm hoping I get it because I'd really, really like it to be in, because I already know I'm going to love it. I don't, I haven't tried it, but I know. So now if it's not and I get it and it's not, then I'll say that, but balance of probability is going to be pretty damn good. Especially if it's anything like the damn Ishtar. Persons that just, people that are just good at everything. Person that's just good at everything he puts his mind to. Yeah, people are like that. You know, if you put your mind to something, you can definitely do it, but you do have to put your mind to it. That goes for everything, you know, just like even work, money, family, whatever, man. You got to put time in. You got to put time, effort, and sometimes, until it fucking sucks, sometimes beyond when it sucks. But that's how you separate the great from the good, and the boys from the men, or whatever you want to call it. Even like some of the rich, a lot of the rich, they didn't get rich from being lucky. They got rich from great work ethic, from grinding and fucking grinding every day, staying up. When you were out fucking around, they were staying up all night working. So if you want to get those results, you got to simulate that rule. And that's what I'm trying to do now. Trying to get my time back by busting my fucking ass. So I ran out of room and had to finish in another post. You read the last part, Jared. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. Well, hopefully I got the gist. I probably did. Powdered milk and powdered milk can SMD. Same with dehydrated soy protein. I went to a wilderness therapy program and they fed us like shit and made us walk 5 miles a day. I've been to a couple of those. I remember we had to go to one in school. It was like 3 or 4 days. And we had there was like these little cabins with bunks and stuff, and it was a whole nature thing, like where you had to go outside. It wasn't like Boy Scouts, but it was like, I guess you could say, like a classroom style version. Do you like jailhouse burritos? I don't like fucking jailhouse anything, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you're starving enough, when you're hungry enough, you'll eat fucking anything. And when you're that hungry, those types of things are like the most delicious shit you'll ever eat, because you're so damn hungry and your body is craving certain things. At first, you crave sugar. That's the first thing you crave. You go there within 2 or 3 days because you're not getting any, because commissary, at least in the places I've been, you have to wait a week or 2 to get commissary. So when you first show up, depending on what day you show up, you can't file in for commissary. So you have to wait so many days until you can file in for commissary. Plus you have to get a hold of somebody to put some money on your books and all these fucking things. Anyways, so that can take a week or 2. So the first thing you crave is sweet, is sugar, because you don't get any of it. And you might not eat sugar in your normal day-to-day life, at least you don't think so, but there's sugar in the things you do eat at a way higher amount than you think. So when you get to there and there is no sugar in anything, your body starts craving it. But then after so many days, it starts craving protein, because then you start being depleted of protein, and now you don't have any protein, because the things that they have just enough nutrition for you not to die, but not enough for you to be satisfied. And like, I remember thinking, like, how in the fuck would a 5-year-old survive on this, let alone a full-grown man? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, how is this possible? But the reason why is because they're getting commissary and they're making their own meals and stuff like that. But if you just live strict, I remember this one dude. I finally got some commissary and I was about to get out. So I gave it all away and give a fuck. You know, I'm getting out. I'm about to go eat cheeseburgers. Like, enjoy, right? But this one guy walked up to me and was like, "Hey man, why'd you give him the food? He's not gonna be able to pay you back." I said, "Yeah, that's why I gave it to him." Right? I gave it to him because he's not going to be able to pay anybody back. That's why he doesn't get nothing. He's the only fucking guy on the block who hasn't eaten anything but the jail food for fucking since he's gotten here. Like, and he's like, and you can see it, and he's a friendly dude, really good dude. He was this black kid that, you know, you could tell he was a decent guy. He was cool to talk to and everything, but he had nobody, no sisters, no brothers, nobody was helping him. So when you don't have anybody on the outside, you don't have anybody to put $10 on your books, let alone 50 cents for a phone call. So you don't get no phone calls, you don't get no commissary, you're getting the jail food, and the jail food has the least amount of calories you could possibly eat with the least amount of nutrition and everything, and it makes you start becoming you wind up becoming violent because you're so hungry you're willing to steal it. You start looking at other people's shit like, how do I get it, how do I get it, because your body's craving it so much. It's almost impossible not to do. So giving it to him was like the best thing I could have done. I gave it to other people too, people that, like, you know, I was doing deals with and shit, you know, because you have that, you know, I had people that served me, you know, during, because since I know people, you know, in there, I was able to walk up to somebody that knew people and shit and be like, "Hey, call this dude, he'll validate me." And then they would make a call, I'd get validated, and then I could pretty much get whatever I wanted on the pretense that I'm going to give it back and that I could be trusted. So I always had people that would, you know, vouch for me. So, you know, I pretty much get bags of chips and things like that. But sometimes that might take you a few days to get to that because you have to get to your floor and everything else. You got to go through all this bullshit. So it's not like you just walk in and you're right at the cell you're going to be in. It takes you a few days to get there. So by the time you do get there and by the time you can start doing deals and start wheeling and dealing and doing shit, you're already fucking 10 pounds lighter. We cut out all sugar and flour in my house for my son's health, and I ate a burger with a bun the other day, and it tasted like cake, and it was healthy bun that normally tastes terrible. Yeah, that's the way I am now. I don't eat white bread anymore. I eat mostly just, if I'm gonna eat bread, it's like multi-grain, which I do eat, you know. But I try to cut out a lot of sugar. I have a little bit of sugar here and there, but nowhere near what I used to. I don't drink sodas anymore. I've literally cut out a lot of sugars and stuff like that. But you know, it's still in a lot of things that are in your diet that are like small, like just little things. Like even like my protein shakes, right? My protein shakes are zero sugar, zero added sugar, but it still has a gram of sugar because it's just the stuff in order to make it what it is, that stuff has sugar in it just naturally. So, um, and juvie food was great. I'm scared of what prison food is like. I hope I never found. Well, from what I hear, it's nowhere near as bad as jail because prison's the best, which is weird to say. But anybody in prison will tell you they'd rather be in prison than jail. Jail's the worst. Jail is much worse than prison. You get nowhere near as much stuff. You don't get nowhere near as much freedom. You have way more like you have way more supervision. Like it's just it's a lot more intense. You don't get out of your room as much. You might have rec and shit like that, and you might have little things, but nowhere near like you have in prison. Like in prison, you can work out, you can, you know, do a lot of different things. In jail, the best thing you can do is maybe shoot some hoops, maybe. But depending on where you're at, like shit, one time I was in a jail, you weren't doing nothing. You weren't getting out of your cell. You weren't doing nothing. 24-hour lockdown every 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It was a 12-man cell with like 18 to 20 dudes in it. So you want to talk about filled? I'm talking about like you can't even see the floor because there's so many people and you're just crammed in there. And there's people that are sick. There's people that are dope sick, peeling the skin off their arms, bleeding. It's pure disgusting. And you ain't going nowhere. You're staying in there. And it's the bars. Like it's not like the jails that are bulletproof glass and metal doors. Sugar is a drug. Yes, it is. You get sold by the industry. Absolutely. That is a fact. You're making it sound like military 20 years ago. Fuck. Now I feel you know what though, man? Hey, man, I think about stuff all the time and I'm like, man, that was fucking 20 years ago. I'm not that young either, man. 20 years ago, fuck, I was almost 20. I was 17 20 years ago. Shit, 18 damn near, because it's about to be my birthday. Well, the good thing, Palmer, is that it seems extremely hard to get sent to prison nowadays. No, they just be letting everybody off, even those who are the worst of the worst. Well, that is a thing. I mean, that, you know, it's crazy to me, and I'm so glad. I am fucking so happy I straightened my shit out before the pandemic, because I can't imagine what I would have done. Like the evil I was committing and the things I was doing, you know, when I was doing bad. If I had the ability to walk around with a mask on, if I, you know, fuck, if I had the ability to, you know, I walk around with masks on in order to protect myself from cameras, let alone just being able to just walk around with them, right? And then when they stop the thing, like with like $1,000, like, you know, if it's less than $1,000, they can't stop. Like all these little things, like, I'm not saying they did it in every state right away, but you know, in certain places, you know, and it's like, it just gave you the freedom and the privilege. And then places were shut down, places weren't allowed to go to work, so all these places were vacant, you know, with lots of money and shit that you could get. So I can't imagine. I'm so grateful that I was doing good during the pandemic. Yeah. I man. And then, you know, a lot of those people, it's gonna catch up to them. It's not like it's easy to, that's the thing. Everything fucking catches up to you. Every lie you tell, everything you steal, everything is going to catch up to you. Karma debt has oh shit. Karma debt has a timeline, and you're gonna fucking pay. It's worse than the IRS. They're gonna get that money. They're gonna get that payment. So regardless of how you pay it, whether it's in blood, time, or something happening to you or whatever, you're gonna have to pay it. You know, you can ask for forgiveness from God, but you know, the world is still going to serve you. So if you and that might be the way that you're gonna get forgiveness, is by going through the problems, you know, that you did, which might be jail time. And eventually some of these guys that are doing some of these things and being caught on camera every time they turn around, it's going to catch up. They're going to wind up getting locked up for like 32 counts. That's what's going to happen. So it's not like they're just getting away. Yeah, they're getting away right now. In a year and a half, they're going to have all these times and they're going to put it all together. These detectives, they don't plan for tomorrow, they plan for next year, and they're going to build all these cases up, and they're going to show up at their door and say, hey motherfucker, we got you for 32 counts of theft over $150,000 worth of stuff. You're going to prison for 12 years. You know, it's going to be like that. You know, instead of it being an overnight stay for $1,000 worth of stuff, now, you know, you're in the big time. And that's why I'm very blessed that I'm not in prison, because, you know, some of the shit that I've done, if you add it up, holy shit. Oh, thank you, Palmer. I appreciate it. Local county jail is a 4-foot concrete shelf to sleep on, no padding, terrible food. Sister-in-law has been to prison 6 times and says the county jail is the worst place she's ever been. Yeah, it is. It is. But it's supposed to be, right? Think about it. It's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be relaxing. It's not supposed to be a place to get fat and get, you know, fed. It's supposed to be a place to suffer. And you do. You absolutely do. And sometimes the worst part is being stuck in a place, in like a small room. Like, it's like lock yourself in your bathroom for 12 hours. See how you feel. Now think of a week or two. Think about a month or two. Think about 3 years. Like it does become it fucks with your mental health big time. People haven't recovered from the pandemic yet, money wise. So much debt out there. Yeah, man, it's bad. Hey Jared, your openness and honesty is legit. We all struggle with shit, and I know when it was perfect, people try to act like their shit don't stink, but it does. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've done what I've done, so there's no reason for me to lie about it now. I mean, I've changed my life around, so why lie about it now? It's what created and made me the man I am today. And, in order to avoid the truth and, and shit, that I'd have to come up with lies, right? Because otherwise, what happened, right? Where was it? You know what I mean? Like, you know, uh, not that I wasn't doing a lot of good shit and I couldn't just talk about that, but it's like, it just is what it is, and there's no reason to deny or to lie about it. But yeah, a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are embarrassed to talk about themselves or the past, and it is what it is. I can understand why a lot of people don't want people knowing their true self, because that's what it is. A lot of times the people are scared that if people knew who they really were, they wouldn't like them. I'm not really worried about that. I'd rather you know me who I really am and like me for that. And then if then like me for something I'm not. I want to show you guys a knife really quick and then we'll get out of here. So I just got a new knife and we grow from it. Yeah, exactly, Jordan. I got this knife and it sucks because it's misfiring. So I asked the company if they would well, I didn't ask them to replace it. I told them what happened. I contacted them. They sent it to me. So they should have checked it before they sent it to me, but I guess they didn't. But I told them, I said, hey man, this thing's not firing. Did it fire? No. See? So it misfires every time. So now it's cool. Like it's just like a little needle. Like it's such a little pokey bastard. It is dagger. It will close, but in order to open it, I gotta throw a little wrist in there and then it'll work. So what I'm gonna do is they said throw some rem oil on it or some WD-40. So I'm gonna try that, and otherwise, I don't know what to say. I wanted to check it out because it's so slim and like I thought it was kind of cool. I know it's kind of like a glorified letter opener in a way, but it's so light and so little, as long as it did work well, this could be a nice little self-defense blade and also a little EDC. But I just need to fix that action so I don't have to flick my wrist. It works when I flick my wrist though, but when I do it without, it's misfires. It's weird. It just needs that little kick, just that little bit. Like it misfires right there. Oh no, it locked up right there. Not that time. Yeah. Oh, locked up again. Anyways, so not something I can recommend yet. We'll see. Maybe it might be just some rem oil. They said throw some rem oil on it. It should be fine. And they could be right. So we'll see. Weak springs. It's weird because it's such a close, like just that tiny little flick. So I do think that maybe some rem oil might work. But yeah, you could be right. And in that case, they did give me the tool to take it apart. I'll take it apart and I'll stretch the spring, see if that works. That might work. There's a lot of great OTFs, Jordan. Don't let that one scare you away. And this one, and don't let this scare you away if you got one coming or if you're going to get one, because it might be just fine. Trust me, I've had many OTFs, even from the most reputable, highest companies, fail. That's springs, right? Springs have the ability to be weak or not fire or misfire. It does happen. Usually from the reputable brands, it's not likely that it's going to happen, at least unless if you get it all gunked up and shit. But it's been 15 years since I did my time and straightened out my life out. But man, is it hard not feeling guilty about things that happen. Yeah. Yeah, it's always just, do your best to be the best type of person you can, help as many people as you can, and just being a good person, around everybody, be somebody that people can rely on. I think you can make it up. You can't change what's happened, but you can change what's gonna happen. You can change who you're gonna be to people, and the people you surround yourself with. Anyways, guys, I love you guys. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Don't forget, Sunday, we have a Bang Gang members live sharpening, 12:15 Central Time, PM. So it'll be in the afternoon, at least Central Time, and be in the afternoon, depending on where you're at. What else? Giveaways. Christmas is coming up. So obviously we have some damn giveaways coming up, right? So the giveaways are going to be done with the memberships. So if you are a member, we're probably going to do giveaways for all members, but in the future, when we do it, remember we talked about after January, I'm going to move everything from Patreon over to memberships. We're going to do monthly giveaways on there for the mid tiers and above. So the bottom tier won't be able to get it, but if you just spend a few more dollars, then you can join in the monthly giveaways. And the monthly giveaways are usually pretty good shit. So we'll see what we're going to give away this this month, because I do have to do a Patreon giveaway as well. It'll be the last one on Patreon, but and then everything will just be coming over here. So yeah, hope you guys have a great holiday this month, and yeah, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video, because I do have videos going up tomorrow. Like I said, I have a Kunwu video going up tomorrow, and many best of the years coming up. We have the best hard use knives, the best everything coming up very soon. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.